Hello, hi everybody. Welcome to the 11th, right? Live stream, dev
I think.
stream. I think it's the
No.
11th of SunnySide.
I stopped keeping
Um,
track.
as we have rebranded it, RainyGames is developer live stream. Welcome everybody. I was too distracted
Yeah.
by the music. Uh,
We all were.
so I was a bit unprepared. But here we are. I'm Siavash, aka Rainy. Joining me today is Sydney, aka Fem. I'm the game director. Sydney is the producer. We do a lot more in the game, but those are the
Yeah.
official titles. But here we are. Hi, welcome. Pat Anderson, you're absolutely correct. That's the very first thing that everybody says when we play that track. It very much sounds like you got a friend in me.
Toy Story vibes.
It's
Yep.
very much Toy Story vibes. And you guys just heard one of the few soundtracks that we have for the dates and romance events in Sunnyside.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say how many we have or what are the variations, but this was one of the versions. So
Did Pat just say that voice volume is on point
hey,
for both of us?
that is
Like we're both good?
that is a first because
I think that would be a first.
I was
What
just
a way
about
to start
to
a new
say
year.
I was just about to say please do tell us if the audio is on.
Yeah.
So hey, but hi, welcome everybody. Glad to have you all here. New year, of course. Our last stream was when we did the demo, the character creator demo. Confused the hell of a lot of people by not titling it the character creator demo. To this day, I'm still not sure if you can title demos.
No, you can't.
I looked very much into it. Either Steam make it really hard to see, or you just can't title demos. But character creator demo for Christmas, and here we are in 2023. I'm still getting used to saying 2023 and not 2022.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Oh, Yukina asks a very good question. Why is it titled as the first live stream?
'Cause Sydney
We're going to
likes
talk
do
about that
all the time.
later.
This
It's
is the
true. I do
third
it
time
just to
we
frustrate him.
Yeah, this is the third time.
Basically, anytime we make any kind of change in the way that we do the live streams, I like to signify that with a number change. So, because I'm a jerk, really, that's all it is. But we're actually going to talk about it a lot in this stream. But we're doing that later because I don't want to get distracted and get off topic and get confused and stuff. So, we're going to go with our nice little outline so that we don't get distracted.
Thanks, Kyle. I got it yesterday after 2 months of not getting it.
I feel bad that I don't have like a cool. My hair's just in like a clip thing.
Yeah, I
feel
got
like
tired of having it in front of my face. It's annoying.
I need to look fresh next to you, and I don't, and I feel bad
Yeah.
about it. We can show off my fresh gray hair.
Yeah, finally, you got one. What
I have my
game dev
first
does
gray
to
hair,
a
guys.
person.
Yep.
So this stream, since it's February, we thought that we would talk about the social system. And we're not just going to
Yeah.
tease you guys with it. We're just going to get really in-depth with it. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
the dateable characters. We're going to reveal some sexualities for some characters. And we're going to show how it's going to work, like the friendship events, the hangouts. How does all of this work in Sunnyside? How does it work with having a phone in the game? So, Valentine's Day is close. So we said, it's the perfect time to talk about the aspect of the game that some people literally want to buy this game only for. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. And because of that, we're going to be diving into the engine a little bit today. So let's have our fingers crossed and hope that my computer can pull through with running the stream as well as running Unreal Engine, because it's ungodly
Grumpy.
heavy. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Man, people are like on point about what we're going to talk about today. They don't
We're gonna
even know
talk
it.
about- yeah.
Yeah.
You must like
Yeah, you guys-
first on the list.
Yeah,
on the
you guys
list.
don't even know. A couple little things real quick. The question and answer channel on the Discord is up. So if you guys have questions and we don't get a chance to get to them or we miss them, pop over to the Discord, type them in the chat. I have it right here next to me on this little monitor so that I won't miss stuff. So if I do miss it in the chat, go to Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, what are you doing with your life? Join the Discord. It's the best. You know what I like about our Discord? It's not like overly active, which
Yeah.
I know is a really weird thing to like about a Discord, but like people talk and it's great and you guys come in and you have like conversations, and we poke you guys occasionally, sometimes a little too often, but not too much, I don't think. But it's not like constant.
I feel like that is something that's going to change after the game releases, though, for sure. And
maybe.
No, I'm pretty certain. And we haven't really been pushing to have the Discord be super active because it kind of goes back to our marketing too. We don't want to do too much before the game is out because I think the best form of marketing for the game would be just the game being good itself. I mean, look at Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Yeah.
What an amazing game that got shadow dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of money behind them and a nice marketing push at the last minute. So kind of shadow drop. But yeah, shadow drop. To me, I think the best example will always be like Valheim and Among Us in terms of like...
That's a good one.
Like Valheim was a shadow drop, you know, in that it had people who knew about it, who were fans, who were loyal. And then the right people picked it up and then explosion. Same thing with Among Us. So I'm not saying we're going to be as big as those two, but I do think it gives indie developers a little bit of hope that you don't have to have this big, crazy marketing budget just to sell your game. So
also, if you ever played Hi-Fi Rush, go get it. Amazing game. Fantastic. It's a game that is made with love for just something being fun. Anyway, so just quickly, the QA channel should be up on Discord. Is it up?
Yep, somebody's already typing.
Awesome. So you guys can put your questions in there if we do miss it. We do say we're not going to answer questions from chat, but that's a lie. We do it. It's nice. Yeah. It's good interaction when the stream is going. So if we see your...
I don't answer all of them.
If we see your question in the chat, we will try to answer it on the spot. But it is very likely that some of those questions are going to get buried under the other messages or we just don't see it. Because when you're streaming, there's a lot of tunnel visioning. So go ahead and put your questions in there if we do miss it or if we don't answer it. And if you duplicate it, that's fine. If we see the question and we've already answered it, we're not going to go through it again. So that's up. We will answer them at the end of the stream. But if you ask questions through the chat, we'll just answer it on the spot too. Yeah. Demo. Yeah. So we wanted to just say thank you for playing the character creator demo. It was great having all of you go in and see how far the game has come, especially with the character creator, because it's just so different with how it used to be from the alpha, if you guys remember. And besides the confusing people part, it was great to see you all post on the channel that we had in Discord. The demo is still up. If you would like to try it, go ahead to our Steam page. It's free. And just create a character that you like, and then you can post it on our Discord. There's a specific channel for it. 2 characters or 12 characters, as many as you like.
However many.
The good thing about it is you can keep the save file, and when the game releases, you can actually import your character so that you skip a step. The only thing that I have to mention about the character creator demo is that the card that you get at the end of it with the little green kind of side thing, a lot of people assumed that's how it is going to be in the game itself. But no, that was just what we made for the demo only. In the game, you actually get the phone pulled in, and you still get to choose in your sexual orientation and all that stuff. None of that is gone. All of that is still in there. And the screen looks a little bit different. But that card was specifically for the demo. Just so you guys know. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting my screen. I have a question for Pat. He said, one of my favorite pastimes is reading how Fem answers Discord questions. What are you talking about?
How do you?
I have no idea. How do I answer Discord questions?
I'm going to have Monster from my RainyGames branded cup holder. This isn't merch, by the way. I just 3D printed this.
Fancy.
I know. It's cool.
But we're going to talk about that later. I have questions.
Well, from Pat?
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Right.
Okay, well, when they get back to me, I'm so confused. Anyway, let's continue. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Do you want to introduce this? Do you want me to? I don't.
Oh, you go ahead. I think I spoke.
Okay. Apparently, I'm going ahead. So, Aww. Thanks, Kat. Aw, that makes me feel good. He said my customer service game is on point.
Hey.
Thanks, man.
That is good.
15 years in customer service. I feel like I learned at least something. Okay, so kind of what we wanted to show you guys is in the last year, 2 years, God, it's been a long time. Whenever we do these live streams, we've always kind of done like a huge overview of like, here's all of the stuff that we did this past month. And we talk about like different mechanics and art and da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like a lot of stuff. And so we kind of wanted this year to be a little bit more focused in terms of like, here's a thing we can show you about the game. And so since it's February and since we just had a video come out about the social system and all that stuff, we said, let's do a bit of a deep dive on the social system. So kind of talking about maybe some changes that we've made to the characters, or we want to show you guys like specific characters. We want to talk about all of the romanceable NPCs because we keep getting questions about, you know, tell us more about them and, you know, their personalities and all that stuff. So we kind of just wanted to like share that with you guys and talk about the social system. So the first thing we want to talk about is we did, would you call it a major redesign or just a bit of a redesign on Cat?
I would say a bit of a redesign.
We did a bit of a redesign.
Do you want me to give the background on why even?
Sure.
All right, so Cat was an interesting character. So some of the characters in SunnySide were very much planned from the start, and I'm talking about Kickstarter here. So think about the concept of Kickstarter. So you guys already know that some of the characters that were mentioned in Kickstarter don't exist anymore because we changed them. If you go and look at the Kickstarter page, you'll find some characters that don't exist anymore. Some characters though were planned, and they're still here. Gabriel.
No, I think they all still exist. I kept their names. There's
a character called Amanda. That's not in there anymore. Do you remember?
That's Hanako.
Yeah, so we changed names. Is what
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we changed, but it's the same character.
It is the same character.
Different name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Gabriel and Lucy were there from the very start, and they didn't really change much, except for maybe some of their stories and stuff. But one character that was really never planned, but it got really popular, was Cat. So, just to be brutally honest for a moment, I was putting the trailer together, and I needed some characters to fill in the space. And obviously, I didn't want to constantly show Gabe and Cat, at least their super early designs. So I just put together some quick models from Vroid, which is what we used back then, before we had our custom models. And Cat was one of them. And people really liked Cat, namely Kyle. It's your fault.
Kyle's fault.
So Cat ended up being in the game. But one problem with Cat is that she has a schoolgirl uniform, but she's not going to school. She's a uni student. So we wanted the design of her to reflect that and not look kind of weird. So that's the source of it. So if you want to continue.
Yeah. So so she started with that Vroid character, and then we got our super amazing, ridiculously, incredibly talented character artist, Kaori, and the first portraits she ever drew for the game were for Cat, and so she did the portraits, and then she also did the seasonal outfit concepts, and went with the schoolgirl theme because that's what kind of Rainy gave her. And then I came along later, and now I'm doing narrative and putting story into the game, and I'm looking at this character who looks like a high school student, but we had agreed, Rainy and I both, that we wouldn't have any characters who were romanceable who were under the age of 18. So now it was like, okay, how do we explain why she's wearing this? And so I tried to do it with narrative, and you guys have you saw the stuff in the alpha maybe about like, why are you wearing that? She's just like, because I like it. But it's still the voice that I developed for Cat in my head in terms of writing her wasn't matching up with how she looked. And so at one point when Kaori got to the end of doing all the seasonal concepts and all the portraits and stuff, it was kind of like, okay, it's time. We need to redesign Kat. It just doesn't work. So she redesigned it. And I helped a little bit in terms, actually, a lot of people on our team helped in terms of like, what direction do we want to take? Are there precedents in Japan for young women outside of high school still wearing their high school uniforms? Is there, like, what can we do to kind of capture that same personality but make her look more her age? Because the way that she was drawn, she really looked like she was like 15, 16, and we wanted to age her up to 19, which is where she's at. So yeah, we revamped her. So Kaori did a whole bunch of research, and we found that there actually is this like fashion movement, not a movement, but a thing in Japan where girls will like retrofit their schoolgirl uniforms to be more adult, and they'll add things to them or pair them with things that they couldn't wear when they were in high school and kind of age up those outfits, which is what we did to Kat. And I think she looks amazing. So the portraits are done, the model is done. She's in engine now, right? Rainy?
She is in engine now, so we're gonna
so
show the portraits quickly first.
The time has come. We kind of already have shown you guys. We've teased a little bit in the Discord and stuff, but we wanted to like really show you guys. So
yeah, let's transition to this one. There we go. All right, so yeah, these are Kat's new portraits, and this is just for spring. And are we just showcasing spring right now? Or...
No, I think show all of them.
Okay, well,
yeah, I think show all of them.
The file you gave me is only one season.
Well, I suck. So
okay, now hold
on. Do you want me to grab you the other ones?
I think I can find them. But yeah, talk about some of the design while I grab those actually. If you would.
Yeah. So would you put up the portraits?
Yes,
yeah,
we have Kat's portraits on now.
So this is her new spring, I'm pretty sure. So it's a little different. She's still got the same hair. But we gave her a leather jacket. She's still got the tie, but it's with a different color. And it's looser, I think she's wearing a vest too, if I remember right. So yeah, she looks 19 now. She doesn't look like a 16-year-old schoolgirl. She actually looks like an adult who's figuring her life out. And what's funny is when I was watching all of you guys play the alpha, which was like my favorite thing to do, by the way. If you guys don't know this, if you stream SunnySide, I will low-key hop into your Discord, or not your Discord, your Twitch stream and watch. I might not say anything, but I'm there. I'm usually there. And I think actually it was Homestead Hero, if I remember right, who was reading out the lines for the cutscenes, and he was the only person who just nailed Kat's voice in terms of her level of attitude and the way that she talks, and everybody else was kind of reading her as this cute, like, airheaded 16-year-old, and Homestead just got it immediately. He figured out, everything about her, and it was really exciting for me. And so that solidified her voice in my head, and I think these new images match her voice a lot better now than the original design. So,
did her casual change much? No, her casual is pretty much the same.
No, casual's the only one that stayed the same.
Yeah. So as Sydney mentioned, it's not just the portraits that are updated. We have also updated the models, and this is our new sort of let me get these down so I can actually read the chat, because Unreal has a bajillion windows. Yeah, as I was saying, this is the new model that we have, and this is kind of the new approach, final approach, essentially final implementation of all the NPC models that we do in the engine. So the hair is a separate thing. Oh god. The hair is a separate thing because it now has physics connected to it. If I like shake it around, and I can actually take it away from her head, which looks really weird. But she blinks now. She has expressions connected to her face that will play when the portrait expressions happen. The whole posture looks a lot nicer. The shoe is a separate mesh for reasons. But yeah, we have completely revamped this, and as you can expect, this is going to be the same across all of our characters. So for instance, if I grab Gabe, he will also have this whole new approach. So his hair, if you look closely, you can see a little bit of physics happening, and it updates when I click on it. So he's got a bit of a jiggle on his hair. And yeah, it was extremely fun to update all of this. Shout out to Charles for doing all the physics for the hair, to Ken for modeling, for rigging all these new characters, and to Alan for remodeling them.
Yeah, and Alan had to remodel Cat, which his schedule is tight as it is, so having him do that and him being willing to do it was pretty awesome. So
I'm gonna show you guys the expressions for the faces, but that means you're gonna have to stare at Gabe being bald. So apologize in advance, but here
brace yourselves.
If the engine doesn't crash, which it looks like it might do right about now. Yeah, this is the beauty of Unreal Engine. So we can't show that just now.
Yeah, loves to crash.
Loves to crash. All right, well, while Unreal comes back up, what's the next thing we can talk about? Yuma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a bit of a jump, but sure.
Well, we can't do that because
I know.
the engine.
We'll come back to Cat while the engine gets its life together.
Yeah.
It's a daily occurrence with Unreal. You like click something you haven't clicked on in a month, and it's like and it freaks out. Okay, so Yuma. I know you guys were wanting to talk about him, so let's talk about him. We do want to show you his house. While Rainy gets the engine up, so we'll come back to that, but we can talk about him. So you got some of your granddaddy stuff. Okay, so honestly, I actually need some feedback on this from you guys, because people have been asking us, when are you going to talk more about the romanceable characters? And frankly, I don't really know what you guys want to hear. I don't know, like, do you want to know, like, their backstory? Do you want to know, like, everything about them? Do you just want to know what their sexuality is so that you don't have to suffer anymore? Like, what are you guys looking for?
I think do a bit of everything.
A little bit of everything? So, I'm so torn, because I want you guys to learn through the story. And my fear is that, like, if I talk too much about their backstories or stuff, like, you guys won't get everything out of the scenes that we wrote. So I'm so torn. But what I can say is meeting the characters when you play. Yeah. So Yuma.
Remind everybody of Yuma while you.
Okay, yeah, give us some pictures. No backstory. Okay. So Yuma is the oldest romanceable male in the game. I want to say he's 49, I think. Somewhere around there. He is... Okay, personality. Fun facts that don't affect the story. Okay, I can do that. So, he is kind of the jokester of the town. He is... It's hard to tell you about his personality without giving away his story. He's the guy who is friends with everybody. Even the people that other people don't really like, Yuma's friends with everybody. He's personable, he likes to meet new people, he likes talking to people, he's outgoing and loves to laugh and loves to tell a good joke or even a bad joke. And when it came to deciding like his hair and his outfit and his style, I wanted to go for something. He's kind of a cross between like the working man, like your traditional like blue collar guy who works, but who also takes care of himself and cares about how he looks. That's Yuma. So his favorite thing is like working hard and being exhausted at the end of the day and like passing out from being tired. But he also takes his time in the morning to take care of his hair and put on a good outfit. And so he's kind of that, like, I guess he's kind of my, like, screw you to the whole idea of, like, machoism, really. That idea that, like, you have to be a particular type of masculine man. I wanted him to be a little dichotomous. And so that's really how his whole character was created. Are you guys gonna be pun buddies? That's funny. So I'm just reading these real quick. How they are, but not why. Okay, I can do that. You and I are gonna go over to War over Bex. Okay, yeah. So Bald Gabe is back. So that's Yuma. We're gonna come back to him because we wanted to show you guys cat stuff specifically. And for some reason, Bald Gabe hair physics. Oh, facial expressions is what you're showing.
Yes, that was.
They're showing them talking.
I was doing that. Yes.
Looks closer to 70. Get out of here.
Well, Yuma?
Yeah.
Well.
Rude. Saying he looks old. Okay, so now you guys, the people are asking how do dates work. Don't worry, we're gonna go into that. We did have actually one more thing we wanted to show you guys regarding Cat. I assume you're loading up right now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, no, his hair is not going to disappear every time he talks. Back to Kat and her redesign. We'll come back to Yuma. I was just delaying while Rainy fixed the engine. A lot of you guys have played played the alpha, or have seen people play the alpha. And there were a few cutscenes in the alpha to give you guys kind of an idea of how things were going to feel. And one of those cutscenes involved Kat. It was the first time you meet her. And it has been completely redone. We've got new models. It takes place in a new spot. It's been slightly rewritten. And we just kind of wanted to show it to you guys. You've seen it before. You're kind of familiar with it. But we wanted to show you guys kind of, here's where we were at with the alpha. And then here's kind of where we've progressed to. And in that process, we ripped apart a whole bunch of code and destroyed a whole lot of stuff, and then kind of had to rebuild it from the ashes to make it better. So, yeah, we're going to show it to you guys. At least I think we are.
It's still loading.
It's still loading.
Yeah. One other thing to mention is the fact that while I showed you guys Kat's new model, the cutscenes still, unfortunately, pull the old models. So you're still going to see some weirdness happening with her model, and it is still going to look like her old one. But I am just got access to the map, so let's go ahead and put in the cutscene, that specific cutscene, which is MC
questions.
211.
I'm reading all the questions.
116. 116.
For which? Oh, Cat.
Cat, yeah. We have codes for every cutscene.
Yeah, we have codes for all of our scenes.
How many there are. Okay, let's launch this and see if it's going to work. Fingers crossed. Sunny, sorry. You have asked a very good question. We're going to dive deeper into it in just a minute.
Yep. We're going to go into all those things.
But they can ask you, yeah. Right, disable all screen message. I think it's working. Although it's 6 in the morning, so...
The engine likes to be really grumpy with us when we... Like, if we try to show anything outside of just, like, normal game progression, the engine's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, just work with me here. Work with me. I want to show you this one scene in the middle of the game.
It gets really angry.
We should have just played the game.
Well, there's a lot that you didn't want to show, so...
I know. It's my fault. It's my fault.
I would have loved to just play the game.
I know. No, I mean like played it beforehand and then paused it and then brought it up. That's what we should have done.
That's true. That's Well. Ah, see.
I'll keep the secrets.
There we go.
Is it working now?
Yeah, I think so.
It wouldn't be a RainyGames live stream without some technical difficulties.
Well, those are the person
Yeah.
more likes to make practical jokes.
So true, Ren.
That is
so
so
true.
It just doesn't want to work. I mean, I wish you could see what's happening right now, but it's
What's it doing?
Just
being grumpy.
It is being very grumpy.
Play some music.
I am playing some music actually.
Oh, I don't hear it. Sad day.
That is a sad day indeed.
Well, I'm gonna chat with chat because they're talking about something about not talking to people until year 2 of Stardew. What's that all about? Is that just like... What's it doing?
I think the music is coming through though on the stream, right, guys?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know. I haven't turned it back on.
It should be. All right, so.
Oh yeah, there's music.
Oh, good. It's good to hear.
Oh, I see. Okay. Life's too busy, year 1. Well, so the thing that we've been doing over the last like month or two is taking all the tutorial and stuff and actually putting it together and putting it back in the engine and giving you that story from day 1. It's something that has always bothered me about other farm games that I won't name on stream. That you just kind of like get plopped into it and you get a little bit of like, have fun, and then you're not really like told anything. So I decided to make the beginning of the game and learning how all the systems work is also story development. And so you're kind of forced to go talk to people, which is really the whole point of the game and the social system. So you won't be able to play SunnySide without talking to people literally day 1. Sorry. I'm forcing you to be social.
Oh, with how the quests are set up?
Yeah. Because our game is a weird combination of the farm game and like the JRPG. And JRPGs are known for giving you, tutorial and explanation and all that stuff. And so we kind of had to mix the two. But are we saying no to this cat cutscene thing?
Yes, I feel like. Okay. I don't know what changes have been
being
made,
extra grumpy.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna blame Laura for this. No, I won't blame
Laura's fault.
It's Laura's. No. Actually, you know what? Let's change this to 3.
Live coding.
We'll change this to 5. If this doesn't work, I guess we'll continue. But I am in the map where we can show Yuma's house and all the beautiful levels.
Yeah, that's what we need next. Yep. I keep seeing this question about whether or not we can watch TV in SunnySide. The answer is no. That's a thing that I know has been in farming games for a long time. But frankly, we don't have the art team or the word count ability to be able to do something like that. Just to have like little shows and stuff adds word count. And the problem with word count is every word has to be localized, which means it has to be translated to another language. And we have to pay for that. So, we could add TV shows and cool stuff like that, but we'd be adding like 1,000 words to the game. And that's just money we don't have. So it was something we thought about, but we decided to cut because, not cut, but just not do because it didn't add... The amount of money it would cost us, it didn't add that amount of value to like the full gameplay loop, and so we decided not to do it.
That's very true. All right. Well, let's have a look at the.
We're going back to Yuma?
We're
going back to Yuma.
Do you actually? Here's another thing that we have to do. So let's go ahead and switch to Unreal Engine, so that we can look at some pretty things. And what do I want to do? Right, Yuma's house. I don't know where it is. So can you tell me where it is? It's the one. Actually, it's the one by the mill, right?
It's the one by the mill.
All right, we're just gonna have to take a flight through SunnySide.
And to answer you guys, the stuff that you normally have on the TV in farm games is all on your phone. You have a weather app, you have recipes that you're going to get from other people, we basically took everything away from the TV, which just made it completely unnecessary, so, yeah.
Alright, so I am by the mill.
Okay.
And
so...
here's the mill.
I'm a little bit behind you because I'm watching the stream.
Yes.
You took the funniest way to get there. There it is. Okay. So wait, did you just like fly past the house?
Oh, is it the one next to it?
Yeah. It's the house to the left of the mill.
Right. Okay.
That's not a house. Yeah,
let's load the map for it as well. There it is. Do people know who Yuma lives with?
No.
Is that something to talk about?
Maybe.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go in. And
I'll talk about it. Okay. So Yuma's house. We're back to Yuma because the cat thing just was being grumpy and not working.
Let's make it night, actually. I think it looks
pretty sure. So Yuma's house is one of the oldest in SunnySide. The mill and the property have been in his family for ever, really, generations and generations. So he lives in the family home. It's just him and his roommate, who is has recently separated from his wife, and so Yuma is a good guy and took him in. I'll let you guys guess who it is. You guys should know who it is, but whatever. And so it's kind of a neat combination of like traditional Japanese with a little bit of modernism. And is it you're in Yuma's bedroom? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see a little bit of his personality.
Anything behind this? Oh, bathroom.
Have you guys been calling him Yama?
I thought we couldn't go into the bathrooms. Why did we put stuff in here?
Boredom.
Yeah,
because we can't control our team.
Honestly, that's the best thing you can do. Just don't give access to a room, but do decorate it.
Yeah, but do decorate
so that people know it's not because of laziness. Is this the other person's room?
Just in case anyone manages to get there.
It is.
Well, yeah. He lives with the raccoons. But yeah, so you should get a little bit. What I will say is in my head, I've been calling them our set decorators. I don't think that's the right phrase, but whatever. Our Laura and Liz. Liz, you guys know, has been our key artist for a long time, and she decided she wanted to hop into map, and I gave up the reins and said, go for it. And they've both done an incredible job of telling story through the houses and what's inside of them. And in a lot of farm games, I think the thing that we're doing that's really, really different is every other farm game, 90% of them, is a 2D system. And so, or it might be 3D, but you're only seeing it from a 2D perspective. And so it's easier when it's just a room that you're drawing to kind of decorate it and put in little things here and there. Or, but for us, for me, it's been really hard having to do these in 3D spaces. It's a longer process. There's a lot more thought that has to go into everything, because you have to think not just only does the set tell the story, but can the player fit in it? Can the models navigate around? Can they find things? Do they fit through the doors? Is there navigation? Like, there's so much more that goes into making sure that it works other than just making it look good. Making sure everything's to the right scale. So they've done an incredible job of really making it look like a real place that you can walk around in, and I'm really impressed every single time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They have done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They really took everything to the next level. And this was something very important we wanted to talk about, mainly because of the fact that during the alpha period, we got a lot of feedback from you guys saying that why are the houses so empty? Why isn't anything decorated? And we knew we were going to get there, but honestly, at the time, we didn't know how we were going to do all of it because there was just so much to do. And at the time, it was just Sydney. So huge shout out to the team. And
I tried.
The awesome level designers that they done a great job decorating. So speaking of looking into people's houses, I think we should go ahead and look into somebody else's house.
Oh wait, I gotta finish talking about Yuma.
Oh, I thought you were done. All right, go ahead.
No, there's a huge word on our outline that I still haven't talked about, and it's the one thing that everybody's been waiting for.
Oh, right. Everybody needs to know his sexuality. Right, go
so on. We decided that we're going to review a few sexualities in today's stream. You guys are dying for it. I know that you guys really want to know, but we also kind of want you to explore the game and talk to people and kind of find out for yourselves, because that's a whole part of like the game itself and kind of the game of life and actually, you know, real life experiences and stuff like that. So we don't want to tell you everybody because eventually it's all going to be on the Wikipedia, but we want to tell you a couple. So, because Yuma's the favorite, and everybody loves him, I decided we'll tell you guys. So he is not attracted to everybody, but he is attracted to more than most. He would identify as bisexual, but he's not interested in all men. That's really the best way I can describe it. So, I could tell you like the numbers, but you guys don't care about that. So basically it's, I want to say it's most women, and if I remember correctly, feminine men. So if you guys remember the scale, he's like, you know, here's the scale. He's like here-ish.
And I'd like to reiterate, in SunnySide, the NPC's preferences are not connected to your body type in any way, shape, or form. You actually don't have any slider for your body to choose what kind of sexuality your body has. It's just your identity and what you identify as.
Yep.
So that's what the system will use. Yeah.
Yeah. So every NPC has very specific, if you identify in this category, they may or may not be attracted to you. And so some of them are only specifically attracted to hyper feminine women. There's one or two. Some of them are only attracted to hyper masculine men. Some of them are attracted to people more in the middle who might be male, might be female, can go both ways. And so kind of what we tried to do really with the whole sexuality system is pull out all the words. So I wanted to pull out bisexual or pansexual and just kind of, not that they're bad or they're not useful, because they're definitely useful in our society, but in terms of the game and the gameplay, we wanted to just be, they're attracted to this type of person. So for Yuma, it's women and men who present a little bit more feminine. He's not really into the super masculine, hyper masculine men. Whereas a character like Parsa, who we've talked about before, is only interested in men. So all men, no women. So
sorry.
Kind of what are you doing?
What? No, I was just saying sorry that you said Parsa isn't attracted to women.
Yeah. Sorry, girls. He's for boys only.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, the idea is that I kind of wanted, I don't know, I guess I wanted people who I feel like in society there aren't as many like hyper masculine or hyper feminine women. Most everybody kind of falls somewhere in the middle without realizing it. And so that's kind of what we did in making it more options if you fall in the middle. And then if you're an extreme, you might have a few less. So there's as many profiles as I need for Gabe to love me. I love it. Yeah. Sorry, somebody messaged me. Got it. So that's Yuma. I hope you guys are happy with him.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's everything for Yuma, please feel free to drop your questions about him. We will continue to answer them. But I think we should move on to another character to kind of have a dive deep into. And it's actually not too far from Parsa. We're going to be talking about the other sibling. And it's going to be Anahita.
Miss Anahita. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anahita is actually you throwing your hat into the ring of character development.
It was my insert. Yeah. Anahita and Parsa has been my inserts because I have to. Otherwise, the people of my country will come at me with pitchforks. So, yeah. Anahita and Parsa are both half Persian, Iranian, and half Japanese. So, Shadi, their mother, it's not the Shawty, it's Shadi. It's a Persian name, it means happiness. So she moved to Japan during the 70s because stuff was happening in Iran. And then she got married to Sora, and then they had two beautiful children, Parsa and Anahita. So because we already talked a lot about Parsa and we've wanted to cover one of the girls of the game, we're going to talk about Anahita. So first of all,
you're at her house, which is gorgeous. I haven't seen this yet.
It looks beautiful. We haven't simulated the water, and that's why this looks like this. But this is a really nice little kind of create. Actually, you know what? Since you guys are here, also I just realized why the game was running so slow. It's because there's a simulation here. God damn it! But I mean, since we already have it, do you guys want to know how we do water? This is how. Isn't that neat? So it's just water hanging out.
Wow.
And then you just kind of tell it.
Dang, Liz.
Do your thing.
This is all Liz. I didn't do this. I haven't even seen this before. And holy bejesus.
It looks great. I don't know what these are.
Wow. You got to be specific. I can't see.
What are these?
What is this? What are you talking about?
Hold on. This wood stick thingy.
I'm like 20 seconds behind you.
You'll see in just a sec. The water, by the way, is created by somebody called Imaginary Blend on Twitter.
Oh,
it's called Float Flux.
Things.
Fantastic work on them. Yeah, I don't know what these are.
I don't know either. I sent Ken a Japanese garden and was like, "Hey, make some stuff from this garden," and that was something that was in the garden, and he made it, and I have no idea what it is.
All right,
but it's in. We should probably find out. It might be significant. I honestly have no idea.
Giant honey sticks, of course.
I guess
they do love honey. Right, so their houses we're going to go into, and yes, there are doors. They're just currently all open so that we can go inside easily. So this is the family house for the Watanabe family. So you kind of come in here, you take your shoes off in there.
Looks so good.
And then yeah, we go upstairs. And I actually don't remember. Oh, this is her house, right? With the plants and everything.
Yeah, hers is the one behind the glass doors.
Cover, yeah. This is Anahita's room. And she's on Discord. She's on the RainyGames. Sorry, she's on SunnySide's Discord server, which you should definitely join. Link down there. And we will change this probably. It'll still be a sneak, an Easter egg to our Discord, but it wouldn't be a page with Xander on it because that looks a bit weird.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
But yeah, this is Anahita's house.
Okay, so Anahita.
I should go through the rest of it too.
A little bit about her. She is scientist. She works at the field lab with Ryozo.
Are we showing the field lab? where she works? Because it's absolutely gorgeous.
Sure. It's cool as heck because Liz killed it.
All right. That wasn't on the plan, boys, but I got it through.
Yeah. You're going to be passing by some like really undeveloped areas, so just be careful.
Well,
yeah, so Anahita works at the field lab with Ryozo. She is actually a chemist, even though they research bugs and plants, and you'll find out a little bit about that. She is kind of... She's a hard one to describe. She's not really comfortable with, like, emotions. And she's not really... She's kind of like, you know, your quintessential, like, lab nerd, I guess, really. Just in the fact that it's not that she doesn't like people. She doesn't really like people when they, like, express themselves. It's just, like, uncomfortable for her. She likes the status quo to stay the same and just kind of everything to be nice and happy. And that comes up in the game. She's very level-headed, very cool-minded, very relaxed. Most of the time. Yeah, this is where she works. She's kind of I wouldn't say she's an ice queen. She's not like... Maybe she's a little mean. I don't know, it's so hard to explain. She's definitely not an ice queen. It's more like... she just doesn't care, really. And it's more like emotions and expressing emotions just genuinely makes her uncomfortable, so she just avoids it at all costs. Yeah, that's where they work. God, Liz just killed it with all of this. It's
not
so
that we
good.
don't want to talk about it, but since we want to keep things in the same topic of characters and the social system, we're not going to talk about how this works, but those are empty fish tanks, and I'm going to let you guys come up with your own conclusions as to what's going to happen to them. So,
yes, very practical, very factual. I wouldn't say she keeps to herself because she likes people. She's definitely I don't know that I would say she's extroverted, but she definitely likes being around people and hanging out with her friends, and but so she's not really antisocial. It's just that as soon as things get heated or anybody cries, she's like, I'm out. Like, I don't... She's that awkward friend who, if you go to her crying, she'll, like, pat you with a broomstick because she doesn't really know what to do. That's Anahita. My girl's a Vulcan. So, yeah. So, as far as the question that I know has been on a particular person's mind for a while, Anahita currently has been set as only being interested in men. All men, I think, is her category. However, I have been contemplating adjusting her a little bit because the way that her personality developed as we were writing, I think an argument could be made for having her also be interested in a small subgroup of women as well. That said, I don't want to just arbitrarily change it. So I was kind of like willing to make you guys a deal. In that, if you guys really want Anahita to also be interested in some women, I think I would need to like be convinced that it'd be worth changing. So I was thinking about...
Greedy's crying, what? So... I don't know if that would change your mind. F's in the chat for Greedy indeed. Do it for Greedy.
So I'll tell you what. We currently have just shy of 50,000 wish lists on Steam. If we can hit 55,000 by I'm going to say in a month. So by March, let's say 14th. I'll change it. And I'll make her interested in women. That's my deal. So we have to have about another 5,000 wish. Which I don't think's too bad. I think we can do it. And I'll update you guys. But, yeah. Or Greedy can just hack her game. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be mods right away, because it's such a simple thing to change in the game, unfortunately. It's by design easy to adjust. But
my heart is ice.
Greedy is going to get very bored.
The marketing campaign is all yours, Greedy. Okay, so that's Anahita. Let's see. What else are we going to talk about?
Right, well, so those were the two characters we wanted to go into a deep dive with. I think at this point, we just kind of want to just show everybody now. If we want to go through every single character, we've already been here for an hour. We'd be here for it'll at least take us half an hour for every character. So we're gonna just kind of show everybody at this point, and then
so I also do want to let you guys know we have all just in case anybody's new to the community or new to SunnySide. We have already revealed all of our romanceable characters. They've been on our Twitter, they've been posted to our Reddit, and they've been posted to our Discord. So we're not hiding those at all. We have a whole section in the Discord channel called Character Chat where you can go. All of the romanceable characters are pinned, so you can go find them really easily. So we're not hiding any of it. We just don't want to go. It's going to take us forever to go through. There are 24 of them. There are a lot of romanceable characters. It would take us forever to go through all of them. So we just want to do a little bit of a deep dive into 2 of them. There is more info on the Discord server. Go join, go read about them. I think there's info on the wiki. I don't know if anybody from the wiki team is in here, but there's info about them on the wiki too. So it's out there. You just got to go looking for it. We're not hiding anything. Well, we are hiding stuff, but for your interests.
Yeah, I was gonna answer Vanessa's question, but you pretty much did it. And Cypher Gaming, hi from the UK.
Yay!
Shout out to all my Arogi friends, and love to
say that again.
Well, I said how it's supposed to say it.
I know, and I've never heard it said.
So you guys say it Arak, it's Arok.
Yeah, Arak.
Yeah, it's that letter that you don't pronounce in English. The q, which is a bit scary.
Yeah, my throat doesn't do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. But thank you for joining the stream. Glad to have you here.
Hey.
Right. So I don't know why I didn't just open this image when we were talking about cats.
I was wondering that too, but you know.
But there it is. So let's go through them.
Good old kitty cat.
These are all, as we say in the genre, bachelors and bachelorettes of SunnySide.
Hate that.
I know, but that's just what we say.
Gross.
So, Catherine, you guys know who she is, pretty much. She's Natalie's sister. She lives in SunnySide with her sister. They live in Takahashi's residence. And it's
also a family home.
I'm not gonna go inside, but it's over here, and it was actually in the alpha, so it's not like we're gonna be missing. Yeah, it's this one. It got a bit of a redesign because I modeled it, and apparently the team hates everything I model, so we changed.
That is not true.
No,
it just didn't have an interior, and we needed a.
It was,
and then once we put an interior on it, we realized that it was way too small.
I just.
And we've remodeled every single building that Rainy has made.
That's true.
But the thing is every single building in SunnySide tells a story. And so some of them are family homes that have been there for centuries. Some of them are family homes that have only been there for a few decades. Some of them are family land, like the Takahashi estate. And those are estates. Some of them are apartments that have only been around for 30, 40 years. There's a story in the game about the development of Sunnyside and how it went from being an old town to kind of blowing up in the 70s, and then now it's kind of in a regress where people are leaving, and we tell that story through the architecture, through the hangouts with the characters, and you kind of get to learn about how all these people have come and gone from Sunnyside, which honestly was a lot of fun to write. And I think Ken, Liz, Laura have all done a really great job telling that story in the environment. So I'll get off my soapbox, sorry.
That's fine. So next up we have, and this is in random order, so Gabe. He is
Not in random order.
He is the owner of the Riverside Ranch, and that is where you will buy all of your farm animals from. He is the father of Lucy, which is also romanceable. These are his outfits. I especially like this
I will give a little bit of information about Gabe and Lucy in terms of their sexualities, in that you cannot date both of them at the same time. That's all I will say.
I mean, as they should.
Not going to say who's into who or what, but I will say that their preferences are exact opposites, so you cannot date both.
Next up, Hero, my character. If you couldn't tell, I love Hero. He's literally my profile picture. Shout out to Liz for making that, by the way. Thank you for making my profile picture. So
I love Hero.
These are his outfits. He runs Tech Hero in town. That is your one shop for all of the technology stuff in the game. There's literally an intro quest that is actually in the game now, where he fixes your phone. If you guys remember from Alpha, that is still in the game. Yeah. And then he gives you the drone, and then he kind of like essentially unlocks build mode for you. So he's pretty important.
And Hero's one of the only characters that like has a color theme. I don't know how. I think we just randomly decided that he only looks good in green, I guess.
Yeah, kind of teal-ish, yeah.
He just has the one color, which I just think is funny. Like, no other character is like that.
His special gives me Joker vibes from Persona. Don't you think?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional. Maybe it was.
It was intentional.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, Sako. She is not romanceable, I'm afraid. But she runs the Oak Tree Groceries. It's your first grocery store that you can go to and buy stuff from. There are more. I mean, obviously, you can go to any vending machine in the game and grab something from there. But go to Sako's, okay? We want to support the local businesses.
Wait. For the record, Sako is not romanceable.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah. She's not romanceable.
Just saying that again. Not a romanceable character. You can skip the non-romanceables, honestly, if you want.
She had, like 3 partners in her life, I think. Was it 3 or 2? Oh, just 1?
Maybe 2.
I think it was 2. I think it was more.
Might have been 2. I think it was 2.
I'm gonna skip the non-romanceable.
One main one.
Yeah. All right,
Hero's
Lucy.
an Nvidia shill. Sorry, that was funny.
Yes, she's romanceable. Yes, she's adorable. Yes, her camera is going to have physics because it looks cool. Yeah, and she's Gabe's daughter.
Yeah.
So watch yourself. Sebastian. Sebastian is just such an amazing character. We recently finished writing him, Sydney and Jade, really, with the help of Ren. It's fantastic.
Thanks again, Ren.
Just the writing is amazing. I don't think it's a secret to anybody that Sebastian came about as an homage to, if you played Persona 5, there's a character called Yusuke, and he's my love, and I absolutely adore him. So it was kind of an homage to him to try to make a character as weird and eccentric as him.
Nobody knows that except us.
No, I did mention. I've said that a few times. No,
have you? I don't think so.
Yeah, I've said it in the previous streams. I think I have anyway. But if you didn't know, that's where it comes from.
Yeah,
and
he's our Yusuke character. And
Cindy can say how difficult it was to approach him.
Right? Oh my god! Because the thing is I had not played Persona yet. And so Rainy just sent me these videos of this character from Persona who, frankly, out of context, is an insanely annoying character. And I instantly hated him. And I was like, I am not writing a character like this. There's absolutely no way. And then I actually played Persona and love Yusuke. I think he's amazing. And while playing it, I was realizing how similar he was in the way that he spoke, and the way that he thought about things to a member of our team, which is Ren, who you guys have gotten to talk to him a little bit in streams and stuff, but there are a lot of things that come out of Yusuke's mouth in Persona that make me go, I could totally hear Ren saying that.
Yeah.
And so we started comparing, and it turns out Ren and Yusuke have a lot of stuff in common to the point where it's actually a little creepy. So I decided to just use that when making Sebastian. So Sebastian is a weird amalgam of Ren and Yusuke, and writing him was a blast. He is a poet, and Jade got to flex her poetry skills a little bit in writing him, and he's just, I love him.
His romance
he's
is
great.
one of the most fun in the game, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's a fun character to romance, or just go through his story, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
Sandy, what
a really
happened to
rewarding one.
Sako's spouses? They just passed away. Yeah.
No, that's not what happened. Get out of here.
Well, one of them did.
No, she had... Oh, okay, one of them did.
Yeah,
but she just had, like, a boyfriend when she was younger, and that was it. And then she married her, like,
about the husband.
lifetime. Leave
Yeah.
Sako alone. She's not like some Black Widow or some nonsense. Get out of here.
But you know, her story actually is really intertwined with a bunch of the residents of the game. Right, next up.
Okay, who's next?
Natalie. So Natalie is, everybody...
Cat's
a lot of
sister.
people love Natalie. Natalie is Cat's sister. So I think
love Natalie.
I think it's accurate to say, and it's unintentionally happened, but if we're comparing characters to Persona 5, I think it's safe to say that Natalie is very Makoto.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, she's very much Makoto.
Not on purpose.
Or as you Americans like
purpose.
to say, Makoto, which is really weird.
No, it's... Ugh.
Makoto.
Who says that?
Oh, they say it in the game.
Ugh. And I hate it every time. Makoto. Get out of here.
So Natalie is very much like her if you have played the game. She comes across as, I would say, assertive, right? Like when you talk to her, like when she knows what she's doing, but I don't know how much you want to reveal about her.
Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. That's what you get when you talk to her the first time. You think that
here's what I will say about all the characters.
Right.
One of my favorite things in anime is when you meet a character for the first time and you think you know everything about them, you've got them figured out. And then through learning about them, you realize that they're absolutely nothing like what you thought they were. That's my favorite kind of character development. And so you can pretty much expect that with 80% of the characters in the game.
Have we revealed Natalie's
That's about all I'll
sexuality, or do we want
Nope. Sure. She's straight heterosexual.
You're killing Greedy today.
Sorry, Greedy.
Oh my god. Right, next
Who
up
also
is
needs naps,
Xander.
therapy, and a hug? Homestead nailed it. Oh, that's great. Pat's got a good idea too for April Fools. We'll do a wiki of just what Rainy thinks the characters are like.
I have nothing to say. So Xander is Sydney's character, actually. She came up with him.
Yep.
And
He's my favorite.
Yeah, actually, we Sebastian, we did Sebastian, and then we started writing Xander. By we, I mean Sydney and Jade. His romance story is fantastic. So I'm going to make another comparison, which Lauren, my partner, which is also on the team, made. If you have played Cyberpunk 2077, there's a romanceable character in that game called River, and he's very similar to him.
But Sydney, I did it right this time.
Sydney, yeah, Sydney hasn't... Actually, I don't think you played Cyberpunk, right?
I have. Oh, yeah, I played it.
Have you romanced River?
He was my only choice.
Well, true. Fair enough. But I don't think it was intentional, the resemblance. Or maybe it was.
No, not at all. Xander's idea came about because I wanted to have... Again, I really like dichotomies, and I really like making characters different than what you think they are. So when you look at Xander, he looks like your typical ex-military macho dude. And then in talking to him, you find out that he's really a soft, kind-hearted guy. And so that's it. That's his dichotomy.
That's his,
yeah.
And I love how much style he has for his special. It's just...
that one was fun.
Amazing.
I think I've mentioned this before, but we originally intended to only have one black character in the game. It was going to be Xander, and then one of our citizen characters inserted another black male character, and then we inserted his family, which added another black male character, and then we realized, oh god, we need a black female, so we added Stephanie, and in that process, I had to do a ton of research on really what it's like to be black in Japan. And there's an excellent YouTube channel, which I encourage you all to go check out, called The Black Experience in Japan. And so big shout out to them. They've been really helpful to me because I'm a white girl who grew up in the West Coast. Like, what do I know? Honestly. And the only thing we can do is research and ask questions and talk to people and make sure we're doing it right. So big shout out to Black Experience in Japan. They'll probably never see this, but they've been paramount in helping me figure out how to do this right and make sure, it doesn't seem weird or out of place or that I don't offend anybody. And yeah, all that research kind of went into making sure that Xander works, and I think he does, and I'm really excited about him.
Speaking of Blake and ethnicities and stuff, correct me if I'm wrong, but Blake is South/Central American, right?
No, she's Californian.
She's Californian, right?
Yep.
Okay, never mind.
Her family is like third generation Mexican.
Right.
But she's Californian.
Got it. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people like to know more about Blake, and Blake's one of those characters that we haven't really talked much.
We really haven't. No. She kind of fell under the radar.
Up in a second, so do you want to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Pull her up anyway. Pull her up sooner.
Well, Fuyukaze is here, which was actually for you.
That's
as
right,
Cindy just said. Yeah, Cindy just said it was one of our Kickstarter level citizen characters that was added to the game. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, kind of want to do something a little bit different. So, I feel like black men in games or in fiction most often than not are kind of portrayed in not the best way. And I don't want to do something different with Fuyu. He is half Japanese, and I worked as closely as I could with Ryder to make sure we got the character right. And a lot of it was just things that he wanted. He's the one who wanted the red hair. He's the one who wanted the style. He's the one who wanted the kind of obsession with winter that Fuyukaze has. And so what I did was just kind of tone him down. He's an introvert. He's quiet. He's shy. He's kind of apathetic towards everything. He just wants to live his life and be happy and doesn't really care about much else. He's not really chasing anything. He doesn't really have a ton of ambition. And that was kind of how Ryder wanted him to be. And that's how he ended up. And I kind of leaned into it and just making him an introvert who likes people and loves his friends, but just wants to have a quiet, happy, calm, relaxed life. And so that's what his story is about, actually. And kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I feel like again, shout out to RainyGames for bringing this character to the game, because I feel like it brought a lot of kind of a unique character to the game that we wouldn't have thought of otherwise. Especially with the way we kind of pretty much adopted his whole family into the game. That worked out really well, I think. So
yeah,
that was very good. Usually
that was fun.
Usually when games have Kickstarter levels, which allows people to add their own characters to the game, it feels like an insert that doesn't really work well.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this instance especially, it worked fantastically well.
That's something that I really wanted to avoid, honestly. It was just feeling like we just dropped these characters. I wanted them to actually be full parts of the town, and especially with Fuyukaze, it's just a reality that if we're going to put another black male into the game, it's got to make sense. And I had already put one who was American, who had kind of immigrated to Japan, and doing another one just felt weird. So I asked if he was okay with his character being half Japanese. He was cool with it, and that's what we ran with. So, and then it was kind of like, well, now we need to put his whole family in there. And so we did. Philip is actually Fuyu's dad. It's Ryder's dad. I don't know if you guys have really seen him, but he's the carpenter in town. The one thing we changed was his job because we needed it to fit in the game. But, and then, the sister, Stephanie, if I remember right, I don't know if Ryder's in the chat, but if I remember right, his brother's name is Steven. And that's how we ended up with Stephanie, because I needed a girl. I was like, sorry, you can't have a brother, but you can have a sister. And so we named her Stephanie. And that's how that happened. So, yeah, we just kind of plopped his whole family into our video game with their consent. Obviously, they gave us pictures and stuff to represent them. So, yeah, it's been fun. Making the characters has been fun. And I feel like we talk about them every single stream, and then you guys are always like, more! Okay, we'll talk about them.
Speaking of citizen characters, we have the other one, or one of the other ones. There's not just two. And it's Kyle. And Kyle, I think is in the chat. I think his PC crashed or something, or his internet. But if you're here, hi. But yeah, this is Kyle, and Kyle is modeled after Kyle.
Kyle
designed after Kyle. It's pretty much him in the game.
He's the only one who is a straight 1-for-1 insert. This is what Kyle looks like minus the heterochromia and the white hair stripe. These are real outfits that he gave us. So if you like his style, fake real Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, ask him for his strip. And again, another a big thank you to Kyle for just helping us so much. He was a Kickstarter backer. He already gave us a lot of money, and then he continued to donate. And then he just straight up joined the team.
Now he works for us.
And now he provides us with IT help, as well as maintaining our Perforce server, which is the server which allows us to work together in Unreal Engine at the same time. So.
Oh yes, and he's married. Please leave him alone.
Yes, very important. Yes. In the game, you can romance him, but
but not in real life.
What happens in the game stays in the game. Okay?
Yes.
What happens in SunnySide stays in.
And yeah, Ren, you're right. For Halloween, he did dye the white stripe in his hair, and he was Kyle for Halloween, which we thought was great.
That was amazing.
All right, who's next?
Another citizen character, Josh.
Oh yeah, Ren's in the chat, right?
Ren's in the chat as well.
I'll Rin, if I say anything wrong, correct me. So this is Rin's character. Rin also backed at the citizen tier level, and she instead of deciding to put herself in the game, she put a friend of hers. His name is Josh, who unfortunately has since passed away. Well, not since. He had passed away, I think, before she did that. And it was kind of her homage to a friend. And so we've done our best. She gave us some great pictures, and told us a lot about his personality, and so we worked with her to figure out kind of his backstory. How did he end up in Japan? How do we explain that? How did it work? Yeah, I think he came out really well.
Unintentionally, his special outfit makes him so much like Ryuji.
He does look like Ryuji.
Yeah. I don't know if you mentioned it, but he runs the bar in the game, which is a very important kind of a hangout spot in the game. We're going to talk about hangouts and social system in just a minute, but it's a very important hangout spot for everybody in town. It's also where you can do mini games like the gacha games or the crane machine and all that stuff that we have. So yeah, pretty important character, and also very lovely gesture in. And thank you for allowing us to do it, really.
Yeah, honestly. Thanks for trusting us, honestly. The tattoos are real too. Those were directly from the references that she gave us. The only thing that we made up was his shirt. We decided that because real life Josh was a musician, played guitar, and so we wanted to kind of honor that. So I asked Rin who his favorite band was. She said it was Slipknot. And so, well, we can't put Slipknot on the shirts. And so the bunch of us on the team kind of did research, like what are some other like naval knots, like what are some, you know, and we came up with the lariat loop, and then Kaori drew this frankly incredible logo for lariat loop. It actually has a lariat loop, the actual knot, and I just think it's great. I love it.
If anybody wants to use that name for their band, do hit us up. Right, next up we have Ryan, which is another citizen character.
It took me a minute to figure that out. That was funny. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. So Ryan is actually, story-wise, very important to Lucy and Gabe. Might not be something that you guys assumed, actually, from the get-go. But, I mean, considering both him and Lucy have a camera, that might have come across. But essentially, he is Lucy's kind of mentor. He is the person that got Lucy into photography, and kind of... he's one of the people, very, very few people that Lucy trusts wholeheartedly. We don't want to listen to Sonic music, so let me just adjust this.
Ryan is another character that was a citizen character. He was put together by Urban Mez, who's one of our backers, who unfortunately we haven't seen in a while. So if you're watching this, dude, we still love you. But life gets busy. So he gave us pictures of himself. This one actually is a pretty close 1-for-1 too, actually. We took some personality characteristics that Mez had described for himself and split them between his character and Lucy's character. And kind of really this is him. Mez is a photographer in real life. He likes to do
he does urban photography. Yeah.
There's urbex, urban exploration, where you go into old crumbling buildings and take cool pictures of them. And that's what he does. And so Mez is Ryan, Mez, we use both interchangeably in his story. But he's a teacher at the college, at the university. He teaches photography, and he runs a very successful urban exploration Instagram and YouTube where he teaches about photography and stuff, and he makes good money on the side doing that. And so that's his character. He's our attractive white boy, as I like to call him.
Grady, yes, him and Gabe are friends. Kind of, I mean, I don't know if you ever pinpointed the first time they kind of started talking, but I think one between Ryan and Gabe, their friendship. I think.
Oh yeah, they're buddies.
Yeah, and I think the point that kind of gets them so close is the fact that he's the person that got Lucy out of the house and got her interested in something that she really likes to pursue. So Gabe has a lot of respect for him because of that, but the friendship kind of went beyond that as well. So.
Yeah, they're.
So that's how it started, but it kind of
they're hardcore best friends.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that we had to consider is if you're putting a bunch of Americans into a tiny Japanese town, there's no way they're not going to be friends with each other.
Yeah, that's very, very.
And so that was kind of it. Is that Ryan was one of the first Americans to move to SunnySide, and well, if you don't count Gabe, because I don't count Gabe, and so he saw the other white dude, and they kind of became friends, and just kind of went from there. So does Lucy also do urban exploration? No, that would be terrifying. Yeah. He is definitely not into that.
I know we glossed over Gabe, but do we want to talk about his tattoo and the origin of it at all?
Nope.
All right. Nope. I guess you guys won't get that today, I'm afraid.
Gotta go through his story to figure out more about that. Sorry.
All right, I think this is our last citizen character, Alan. And you definitely need to give context for his special outfit.
Oh, right. It's a running outfit, isn't it? It's like, do I?
Well, it's the Onison one, right? Actually.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Again, I'm 20 seconds behind you. Alan is another citizen character, and his owner, Jacob, was pretty much just like, do whatever you need to do. Make a new character. Here are some qualities I think he should have. He wanted to be outdoorsy and kind of athletic and really shy. That's what we did. he didn't really give us any photos to use, so I used my friend's little brother, who's a model, because he's pretty. So Camden, this is for you. And yeah, so don't want to go too into his backstory or anything, but he's a runner. He just kind of picked up an odd job working at the onsen, the bathhouse, the hot springs, all of the above. And that's what his special outfit is. A lot of the specials are like work uniforms.
You did not want to show the onsen, did you?
No.
That's one of the prettiest areas.
It's one of the best spots on the map, and I insist that you guys experience it for yourselves the first time in game because it's too good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's his character. His development is kind of intertwined with Kyle's development in the game. Their stories are mixed up. You guys will find out why and how. Yeah, I don't really want to go too far into it, but he's the newest person to move to SunnySide outside of you. So your character technically is Japanese, half Japanese at the very least, grew up in Japan. Alan is another American who kind of came to SunnySide after some major tragedy in his life. And that's all I will say.
Next up, we have Anahita, which we just talked about. So, just quickly, again, she's half Persian, half Japanese, and sister to Parsa. And I absolutely love her design. Good job, Carrie.
Yeah, she's so
and then
awesome.
Parsa, of course, the man himself.
He was so much fun.
He was so much fun, yeah. And I think, did we talk about who he's like best friends with or like to be?
Nope.
No, right, okay. Well,
nope.
Yeah. But yeah, a little cool point about his special outfit. That is a traditional Persian kind of.
Love his special outfit. It's so good.
It's great, and she got the designs so.
She nailed it.
Yeah, I think it's Persian, but it's also shared, I think, with India. So if anybody is from India, they might also be able to recognize the symbols. There's a lot of overlap when it comes to India and Iran. So yeah, it's he does. That's one of the martial arts or sports that he does, and that's one.
Pronounce it correctly.
Zurkhane.
Yeah, because I butcher it when I say it. So, thank you for that. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Parsa is a combination between two beloved male characters in anime. He is a cross between Captain Levi and Vegeta. So if you can't see it, hopefully now you do. We're going somewhere special. Okay, I'll get my pants. Actually, thank you. We might have to skip Stephanie's, or you might have to move part of it off screen.
What? Oh, right. Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
To
Stephanie,
answer the Prestidi, Sunny's have his own. No, we use Japanese for the writing because it takes place in Japan. So, and we might have snuck in some jokes into the Japanese, maybe a little bit. Yeah, I know some of you saw it, but I'm trying to protect you guys from as much spoilers as possible. So,
the zoom level is not helping.
Yeah, it helps a little.
Either too close or too far away.
Yeah, you know. So Stephanie, she is. She is really hard to explain. She is kind of my attempt at I don't know, trying to have a strong female black character in the game without going overboard. We wanted her to have more depth and complexity than I think is generally given to black women in games and stories. Again, unfortunately, I am not a black woman. So I can't do as good a writing job as I would like to. But hopefully we got close. and she is kind of at a point in her life where she is a little stuck and a little lost and doesn't really know what she wants or what her future is going to look like. But she's a hard worker and she loves to learn and she's very smart. And so she's kind of weirdly ended up becoming my self-insert, which is really odd to say. But in the way that she feels like she has these two sides to her personality and just wants to be accepted for the one person that she is. And she struggles with it. And that's something that I've talked to people about, that I've struggled with for a long time, and that I am feminine and I like to do feminine things, but I'm also very masculine. I do masculine things. And so Stephanie is kind of the combination of those two different sides, that you can have masculine traits, you can have feminine traits, you can be both. You don't have to be one or the other. And so that's kind of, I don't know if I described that very well, but that's Stephanie.
All right, I'm gonna move on because we have a limited time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to give Greedy 1.
Yeah.
I have to. I will tell you, Stephanie is bisexual. There you go.
Greedy
we
is
announced
happy.
another one. Because I feel like I've been torturing her. And so there you go.
Right. Next up we have Mayumi.
We're going to be here forever.
Yeah, well, quickly then. Mayumi is romanceable. She is one of the older ladies in the game.
Yep.
She is the doctor at the clinic. She kind of runs the whole thing. And Blake and Hanako work as her apprentices.
Yep. Apprentices.
She was inspired by Felicia Day. So Felicia
kind
Day,
of. Just the hair.
Just the hair.
Just the hair.
But
I snagged Felicia Day's hair.
Yeah, if you see the stream, you know, there you go. Thank you.
We got a character if you want to voice act.
Speaking of the apprentice, Hanako, or as I'd like to call her, the angry lesbian in the game, which I mean she is. You guys saw her. Look, come on, everybody knows her sexuality. You don't need to. You don't need to.
Nobody
make that
knew.
face.
Nope. Nobody knew.
Oh wow.
I hadn't announced that one yet.
Oh well. I'm sorry, but there you go. I'm being a Tom Holland again. Well, you're welcome, Greedy. I'm mitigating the damage you've done, Sydney. But she's very assertive.
funny.
Definitely very angry. Oh god, Greedy's happy at least.
She's like, Anahita who?
I'm personally a huge fan of her winter outfit. Generally, just
her
really
outfits
love
are
the
great.
winter outfits. Yeah.
Basically, the story for. Damn it, Rainy.
God damn it. I'm having a rainy moment, indeed.
No, nobody knew. The only one we'd announced was Parsa. So the thing with Hanako is mostly her backstory is she's a med student. She got sent to SunnySide to do her residency, and she hates it and would literally rather be anywhere else. And that's why she's so mean, to be honest. That's really the root of all the issues. And then through the story, you'll find out why she got sent to SunnySide, and all of that stuff. So, yeah.
And she's very, very pretty. So, again, good job, Carrie.
She is really pretty, yeah.
She's very
Her hair is so good.
You know, I wish it was easy to grab, but I wanted to show her portraits quickly.
I feel a little bad because I know the, like, shaved side head thing is, like, kind of synonymous with lesbians in video games now because of Cyberpunk, a bunch of other things. I just want to be clear that's not why we did it. It was a hairstyle that we just really liked. And she got it. So I really like her hair up in the ponytail, though. I think that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with her special outfit?
Yeah, with her work uniform. It's just so cute.
I need to remind myself of how her portrait looks like with that hair. So let us just quickly, there it is.
Yeah, it's so cute. To answer your question, Pat, yes. You don't have to romance her to ease her troubles.
Again, we're going to talk about it in depth in just a minute once we've gone through these. Yes.
Yeah, the ponytail rocks. It's so good.
Oh, Blake, the other apprentice.
Yay, Blake!
Yeah.
And I gotta say, we put their hair in ponytails for their special outfits, specifically because it irritates the absolute bejesus out of me when you see women in any form of fiction where they're in a working environment and their hair is down. I can't. I literally can't, because no woman would ever. There's no way as a doctor you're running around with your hair down. It's just not gonna happen. So I insisted that we put their hair up because it's just a thing that I'm petty about, I guess. Yeah, the ponytail is appropriate. But yeah, so Blake is from California. She is, I think, like 5th or 8th generation Mexican. I don't remember. Her family's been in California for a really long time. And
she's
she
solo
and
in Japan, though, right?
Huh?
She's solo in Japan, right? She's just
kind of. She's got Hanako. So she came to Japan because of Hanako. Hanako went to California for a student study abroad program and lived with Blake. And they decided they were going to go to med school together. And so Blake went to Japan to go to med school with Hanako. And now here they are. So that's kind of their backstory. And she is kind of the Hanako antithesis. She's calm, she's quiet, she's patient, she's nice, she's kind to people, she's kind to you, the farmer, more helpful compared to Hanako, who's like, what do you want? And often apologizes for how mean her friend is. The thing that I wanted to do with Blake is kind of, I don't know, I really wanted somebody who is like people that I grew up with in California. So that's really her purpose, is, you know, we wanted somebody who was either Hispanic or Latino or South American. We wanted some more darker skinned characters, and so we were kind of looking at how can we do that and how can we do it right. And I kind of pulled from where I grew up and the people I grew up with and the friends that I had, and a lot of how she was designed is straight from a friend that I had growing up. And so yeah, that's how we end up with Blake. And I kind of just wanted to have like a really sweet, kind girl in the game, and that's what Blake turned into. So yeah. Awesome. I love that expression. It's so good. Okay, reading the comments.
We talked about Yuma, so I'm going to skip over. Okay.
Yeah. High top Converse every day. Yeah, that's, again, Southern California, high top Converse. I kind of just had to. I didn't really have much choice. Let's see. She's major best friend vibes. So, all right. So here's Kaida.
Kaida, yes, she. What's the? I forgot the word. What's the word for the person who runs the shrine?
So it depends.
Like her role. Title.
Most of the time in Japanese, in anime, in stuff that you see from that's Americanized or often fetishized, are the shrine maidens, and those are usually the young girls who like assist with shrine duties and stuff. They're usually very young. That is not Kaida. And I know people are going to be upset that she's not wearing the classic like red skirt. She's not a shrine maiden. She's an actual priest. So there's different levels in Shinto depending on what school you've gone to, how far your education has come, whether or not you're fully registered with the government or governing bodies, I should say. And so a little complicated for her and her backstory. You'll find out all about it and why it's complicated. But long story short, she is the priest that runs the shrine in town.
She is romanceable.
Yeah. She is romanceable. Her family does not own the shrine. She's actually not from SunnySide. She's only been in SunnySide for a few years.
Yes. While we don't want to spoil any of the story, but I will say she plays a very important role in the main storyline of the game. Yeah. She's one of those characters that's really involved with it.
Yeah. And there were some people saying that it's a Mako, or that's the Shrine Maiden. So technically she's the Kanushi, which is the high tier priest. But she hasn't gone through with all of the governing things because it makes her uncomfortable because she doesn't see her. So it's complicated, but technically she would be a Kanushi.
And she's very tall. She's
very tall.
Very tall ladies in the game.
Very tall woman.
Next up,
I wanted a tall girl. I don't know why.
Well, we have Melody. Who's
not a tall girl.
She's from this land. She's from the UK. She's the British girl. It was fun giving you guys British slangs when you guys were writing cause it's funny what Americans think British people say in terms of slang. But we got it right. She's going
Don't let me in there.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's just the sweetest thing ever. She runs the salon in the game. That's where you can change your haircut, by the way. Clearly.
Yeah.
So she runs the salon in the game, and she is actually present in quite a few of the other stories because she's a social butterfly, right? She just talks with everybody, and she's everybody's friend, which is great.
She's been in Japan for.
She has those septum piercing.
She does have septum piercing. She's been in Japan for about a decade, I think, at this point. By the time you meet her, she has an interesting backstory about how she got to SunnySide, how she got to Japan, why she's in Japan, her winter outfit is by far my favorite.
What's interesting to me though is that there seems to be, especially with Britain, there seems to be a very interesting trend almost with British people moving to Japan. I don't understand where it comes from, but it's a thing. It is definitely
There's actually in all the research that I've been doing, there are a surprising number of people, non-Japanese people, who've been moving to Japan over the last 10 years, 15 years. And we actually talk about that in the game, why it's happening, the benefits of it, the drawbacks. And so, Arkelos keeps asking this, and I'm curious what information you want, because I don't know how to answer your question. You're asking how citizenship will work for the foreign characters. What kind of information are you looking for? Because I don't really know how to answer your question. Because obviously we're not talking about can't really give them citizenship. So I don't know, is that a thing you want to make sure we're talking about or addressing in the game? Can you be more specific? I want to answer your question, but I don't really know what you're asking for. So for her, we talk about kind of how she got there, why she stayed, and how things developed over the last however many years and stuff. So yeah, she's cute. I like her. I love her tattoo. That was something that we wanted more characters to have tattoos just because we could. There's been a very slow change in how Japan and Japanese people feel about tattoos over the last decade, and so we kind of wanted to address that and get rid of some of the stigmas. And what was the other thing with her? Oh, she's actually heavily inspired by my own real life hairdresser. So there's that. Just throwing that in. You still there, Rainy? Did you die?
No, I was looking at the because Arkelos added Japan only allows single citizenship. I don't know what that means. Single citizenship.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like, you can only have a citizenship of one country? Like, you can't have multiple passports? Because I don't know if that'd be the case. They'd be kind of shooting themselves in the foot if that is the law.
It's as far as I know, and from the research that I've done, it's
PewDiePie does
not.
in Japan now, huh? Yeah.
There are actually a lot of Americans who have moved to Japan, lived there for about a decade, and actually went back to the U.S. So I'm not really sure.
I hope that's not the case, because Laura and I have been thinking about moving to Japan. So,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, I have done a lot of research. The question is whether or not we've done research about Japanese citizenship. The answer is yes. In terms of what it takes, what you have to do, how long the process is. It's about 5 years usually to like go through the full process of becoming a citizen. It's not impossible. It's difficult. You have to learn the language. You have to take a bunch of tests and stuff. But you can live there for a certain period of time without a job. Then you have to get a job, and you have to change what your visa looks like and all that stuff. So if the question is, did we consider the citizenship status of every single one of our non-Japanese native characters? The answer is yes. Do we heavily talk about it in the game? Not really, 'cause it's just boring, and in most cases it's not necessary to the story. But yeah, we did consider it, especially, characters like her, characters like Xander, characters like Alan. And then, yeah, a lot of them are half Japanese too, so that's why they're in Japan. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
All right, well, next up, Hina. Is Hina romanceable, Sydney?
Yes. Yes. Okay, this is actually something I want to talk about. So, we wanted to talk to you guys about how the romance system works. We ended up just kind of talking about all the characters again, because you guys always want to know about the characters, which is fine. Yeah. But in terms of the romance system and how it works, there are 24 romanceable characters. I've been saying that a lot, and now people are telling me it's actually 25, so maybe I don't know. 24, 25. The thing is, we have a couple different things that happen in our romance system. So primarily, the way that it works, so that you guys know.
Wait, I wanted to explain that through code. Not the code. Through the Hangout system, and then kind of get to it.
Okay, fine.
So
we're gonna get to it.
Okay, well, we'll skip over Hina then. But she's romanceable. Okay. And she's oldest lady that's romanceable, kind of. She
is the oldest female romanceable character. She is, if I remember correctly, 51. If I remember right.
And she's Sebastian's
newly divorced. She's Sebastian's mom. She owns Naka. She wears the clothes that she wears for very specific reasons. And also not pictured is actually her special outfit, which is her work outfit. I don't know why it's not on. Oh, yeah. She has a medical disorder that we won't go into too much because you'll learn about it in the story. That's why she wears the gloves. Yeah. That's Hina.
Yeah. Okay, welcome to the stream. Thank you for catching us.
Let's rock through the rest of these.
Let's say Ryozo. He works with
There's too many of them.
He works with Anahita in the research center, which I showed you guys a nice glimpse of it. And he's romanceable. Yes. Next up, we have Yukio, everybody's favorite, of course. She's the gamer girl of the game. She streams. That's the story. That's canon. She streams. She actually has a streamer set up at home, which we have in the game actually. And her day job is that she runs the post office. Did we talk about her marital status? I think we did. Yeah.
She is happily separated.
She's happily separated from another resident of the game, but they still work together because that's funny. Right. Next up. Oh, there he is, Hideo.
There's Hideo.
Here's Hideo, the happily separated. Well, maybe he's not so happy, but she's very happy. Yeah,
she's very happy.
Yeah, she's very happy. Hideo, they're separated. Hideo is a dick, but some people like that. So you know what? Whatever works for you.
Okay, he's kind of a dick. It depends on what your perspective is. He is actually a really nice guy. But his main thing is that he has a very particular idea about how a person should live their life and is not afraid to share it with others. He likes to argue with people, mostly because he sees it as a challenge. He likes debates. He likes intellectual conversations. He likes challenging ideas. And so for a lot of people who don't like competition, or for people who don't like what's the word? Conflict. You might not like Hideo, but there are people who do like that, and so
he also overreaches and overestimates himself. So that's another.
A little bit, yeah. He's definitely arrogant. You know, we didn't actually model him after Keanu Reeves, but now that you say that, he does kind of look like Keanu Reeves a little bit.
Keanu Reeves, but not kind.
Yeah. I don't know if I would call him petty either. It's more that just, you know, he thinks coffee is better than tea. He thinks that, you know, the person who's in charge should always be listened to and never questioned. And he just thinks very highly of himself, and the people in his life don't. And that creates some conflict that you will get to figure out through playing the game.
He's romanceable, so let's move on.
He is in a power suit. That is for dang certain.
That's shoddy. Not romanceable. Sorry, guys.
Actually, I was just saying that's actually how, when we described the outfits, that was how I described that outfit, was a power suit.
I think we actually finished it. Yeah. All right. So here's the part of the stream where we talk about how the romance system in SunnySide works. I'm going to minimize this. We're going to go back to the engine, and we are going to run one of them. But before we do that, we are going to kind of talk about and explain how the whole system works. So let me go back to the farm. By the way, this is how the farm looks now. Yes, you need to cut down all these trees if you want to use all the space. And some people in the team say it looks too pretty. They don't want to. So I don't know. But anyway, the way the whole social system in the game works is that obviously we have friendship points and romance points. They are separated from one another, but sometimes romance cannot be gained before friendship is achieved. And that's not the case for every character, but that is a sometimes thing. So you generate friendship points through a few different means in the game. Talking to NPCs daily generates you a little bit of friendship points. The intro quest line also generates a little bit of friendship points, kind of like sends you on your way, pretty much. But then after you generated those, the main way you can generate friendship points and just kind of continue with the story of an NPC is by inviting them to hangouts. So the way the hangout system works is that once you have enough friendship points with an NPC, you can then send them a text message and invite them to a hangout. NPCs can also invite you instead. That is based on a cooldown counter that we have. Also a few other metrics at play. For instance, if you don't go out on a hangout with an NPC for a long period of time, and you haven't gone on a hangout with any other NPC for a long period of time, then you have a chance of an NPC hitting you up with a message and inviting you to a hangout. As I mentioned, the system will check that you haven't gone out with somebody else as well, so that you don't get bombarded with messages if you have just been ignoring one very specific NPC. So we are going to press play, and we're going to just look at a hangout. Now, this week, I'll just be totally honest, I have been completely working on the build mode, kind of reworking it and making it work better. So we haven't tested... Oh, let me destroy that cutscene because it's just going to run the cat's cutscene. So there might be kinks with the social system and the hangout system that we have not gone back to fix. So let's just do this live. Okay, so here we are in the game. In your phone, you have an app called Squirrel. And my phone is broken, of course it is. And then you have a friends list. Now this is empty because I'm in debug mode, but in the game you start out with a few friends because you're kind of forced into some intro quest lines, such as Gabe, Cat, you guys already know that. So I'm going to, through the cheat menu, give myself all of the contacts, and I'm also going to enable Sparky so that we can see him on the side. And let's also skip the time so that it's a little bit brighter outside. Right. So, Squirrel, you go to your contacts, and then you can see all of the NPCs that you have met. If you have not met an NPC before, they will just not be in your contacts. So you need to talk to them at least once, and then they will show up here. They can also show up through the course of the story. For instance, Gabe is introduced to you kind of forcefully at the start of the game, so he will kind of always be there. But let's just go to Cat, which is our test character always, and we are going to run her hangout. actually, before I do this, I'm gonna quickly disable something that we had enabled, and remind me to do it again. It's the middle parts. Yeah. So also gonna read the chat because I just kind of stepped through that. Hope I haven't bombarded you guys with too much information at once. Oh, and one other thing. Let's adjust my screen size.
So a little bit about those chibi characters. That happened by accident. Liz just drew one for, I think, Kyle, I think was the first one. And then Rainy was like, that's super cute. Can I have one for Hero? And so she drew a Hero one. And then I was like, that's super cute. Can I have one for Kaida? And then she drew a Kaida one. And then it was like, can we just have these for all the characters? And then it was like, okay, now we have them. What do we do with them? And then I think it was Rainy's idea to make them the icons for characters. We were going to like actually take pictures and have like real profile pictures and stuff, but chibis are cute, so they stay.
Oh yeah.
I don't care if it's not realistic.
All right, so we are going to go to Squirrel I am now, and now I have all the contacts again. Cat. And then when you open up their profile in the app, you can see their username. Can I fix the phone through the cheat menu so I can see things better?
We need a RainyGames cheat counter.
Oh god. Right, so you can see their name, you can see their username, you can see their bio, their job, their followers, all that kind of flavor text stuff, but also a little bit of story, kind of gives a little bit of an insight into how popular they are. And then you have this little icon down here that represents your friendship level. It essentially starts out as a little kind of a ripe or unripe, actually, technically, acorn on a little sprouting acorn. And then it slowly turns into a tree. And then, yeah, that'll be kind of your friendship counter. But anyway, I'm going to invite Kat to a hangout. So you click on that, you send a message to her. You guys can see our newly redesigned Messenger UI. Here's a little quick interesting detail that we might change, unfortunately, because of just the way things work. So when an NPC types back to you, it happens in real time, and different NPCs have different speeds of typing. But we might actually end up changing this to a traditional just click to get the reply type thing. We love it. I love the realism. I love the way it feels. But then also as a gamer, I'm like, this is annoying. Can I just click through? Also, it introduces too many problems. When it's happening in real time, we can't expect when an NPC's text message is coming back to you. When you have your phone open and you're clicking, then you know when the reply is coming through. So there's another real...
We're still debating.
Yeah. So now that you have sent Kat a message about where to go, you need to select a venue. So when you click on that, you will get the map open. And you guys might have seen this in our latest Wishlist Wednesday video. But essentially, there are places that you can go to that we call venues. These can be NPCs' houses that you unlock, that you can go and hang out with at, or they can be actual venues that you can invite NPCs to. And yes, Higashi, the city that is close to SunnySide, also has hangout spots. I'm not going to name all of them, but for instance, there's a cinema that you can go to, or there's a noodle shop that you can go to. And yeah, we can hang out with NPCs in there. So I'm going to choose Naka, because again, Naka's our test kind of field to go to. Here's what you guys need to know. NPCs have preferences for a lot of things. One of those preferences include the location, the venue that you invite them to. For instance, some people, as well as activity. So what I mean by that is getting coffee at Naka is an activity. Some NPCs might really like going to get coffee at Naka. Some NPCs might really hate it. So you are going to kind of know that and figure that out through the course of inviting to hangouts. But also there will be reviews down here, which we are kind of re-importing all of the data into the game, and that's why they're missing right now. But you can read their reviews and kind of try to figure out if somebody is into a location or not. But for instance, Kat loves getting coffee at Naka. Also, the preferences are dislike, neutral, like, and love. And Kat loves getting coffee at Naka. So these are all the available activities that I have at Naka. Currently we're in debug mode, so we have dinner and lunch available all this morning. Write poetry together is a character-specific activity. So if I was inviting Sebastian, for instance, to Naka, I would have that activity available to me. So anyway, I'm going to press confirm. And it's going to send a Google Maps-esque message back to Kat. And Kat will say, see you there. And then we'll go there. All right, here we are. I told you guys there will be bugs. For instance, the HUD is still there. But we will continue through. So, Catherine's new portrait looks much better. And yes, we kind of reworked our UI design for the dialogues. The character portrait is much smaller, but it's kind of centered. It's a lot nicer looking. So she says
it's way better looking, to be honest. We were struggling with how big the portraits were. Just in like trying to figure out the facial expressions and stuff. They were hard to see with them being so far away from the box. And so I think I'm really excited about it. I think they look great.
They do look great. All right. Sorry. 1 second.
What happened?
Well, I had to connect back a code that I had to... It was in our effort to try to get the thingy work.
Right.
Yeah. Alright, we're just gonna put a little... nice little delay there. I'm gonna run it again. And I'm gonna look at chat, because I haven't in a long while.
Mostly just chatting.
Good. I do like chatting. Okay, right. Back onto it. So, Squirrel, I'm going to send Kat another message. Select a venue. And then we are going to go to Naka. Confirm. There we go. Alright, we see Kat, and as I mentioned, this is her old model, unfortunately. She's excited. What do you want to do? So then we are going to be presented with the activities that are available at this time, at this season, with this NPC. There's a lot of variables at play. Because we're in debug mode, we have everything available to us, but I'm just going to choose Get Coffee. So we are going to go to one of the areas that you can go to. For instance, when it's not raining outside, your character might go and sit outside with Kat. And then you kind of have this window in the middle where not much happens. They just kind of have this little anime bubbles above their head. And then that's the end of the hangout. So you are going to generate some friendship points based on getting it right with what they like to do. So, for instance, just inviting Kat to Naka to have coffee with her just generates you friendship points. But we're at the end of the hangout. And if I say... I have 3 options now. So this is what we call the love languages. Do you want to explain that, or should I do it?
Sure. Yeah. So we call them love languages, but it's not really a romance-specific thing. So right now, this is a hangout, right? Not a date?
No, it's a hangout, yeah.
It's a hangout, yeah. So somebody said Sparky third wheeling. Yeah, Sparky goes on all your hangouts. But the romance language system, love language system, shows up at the end of every hangout or date, and it's kind of your opportunity to show that you care about your friend or the person that you're dating. And so we kind of tapped into those 5 love languages. And so quality time is already hanging out with them on the hangout or date. You can also give them a gift. You can say something nice to them, or you can ask them if there's like a favor that they need. And so depending on which one you choose is going to generate different amounts of friendship and or romance points, depending on who it is. So somebody like Kat, for example, really, really, really likes compliments. It's how she likes to receive love. And so if you give her a compliment, you're going to get some extra points. And so it's just kind of your way of figuring out how to show people that you appreciate them, really. We're not going to tell you, we've told you, Kat, but we're not going to tell you everybody's preferences. So you have to kind of experiment, see what they like, see what they don't like. When you choose one, you'll get dialogue back to give you an idea of how they feel about that whole situation. You can kind of tell by how many points you're getting, how much your friendship tracker is going up. And so, feel the post-choice regret. And there's only 3, so it's not like it's you're only gonna have to try it 4 times. It's not gonna be, But we initially had the 5th love language, which is touch. But we decided to pull that out. 1, because the programming of it was too difficult. 2, because in Japan it's not really something you do anyway. And so we pulled it. So sorry.
Yeah.
But I think still it's going to be fun and rewarding, and you still have the idea of like there are certain gifts that they really, really enjoy and will be really happy to receive. We didn't really do any like negative gift where you give them a thing and they hate it and they hate you because of it. I just don't really like that system, to be honest. It feels weird. And so if you give them something that they don't like, they're just gonna be like, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. They're not gonna like, I hate you. And then to say something nice, again, word count comes into play here, so you're not actually gonna say anything. It's what she does. But you'll just kind of vaguely gesture that you've said something nice, and then they'll either appreciate it or not appreciate it. And then if there's something that you need, it'll generate a one-time, limited time kind of fetch quest. So, for instance, maybe Cat wants some strawberries or a cup of coffee, and so you can go and get that thing and bring it back to her, and you can generate some extra points.
I'm actually going to press that. So if I press that, then it's going to get generated. That's amazing. So our team has been importing our text into the game, and the little dynamic sections where it's supposed to be items inside of it, it's supposed to say, oh, actually, yeah, I've been needing a item.
Nice.
This is, I've been needing a Catherine. She needs a Catherine. So
I mean,
I'll get them for you. So that's the love languages. She needs herself. She does.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, now you guys know how you can generate friendship points and romance points, all that good stuff. Now, how do story unravel through this? So, from time to time, when you invite an NPC to a hangout, or when they invite you to a hangout, you are going to get a special scene. So,
hold on, I have to pause you.
What's that?
Kenobi is in the chat.
Kenobi's in the chat. Hi.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Thank you for saving us a million times. And
Ben Premack in the chat is our lawyer and best buddy, and we absolutely love and adore him. So everybody say hi.
He's great. I couldn't be more legally incompetent. So thank God that Ben exists. And yeah, he's awesome.
Get you guys a lawyer that you love.
Very true.
He's also correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, the president of the Seattle chapter of the IGDA, which is Independent Game Developers Association, I think. So huge in the gaming community. He's good peeps. So show him all the love.
And the reason we call him Kenobi is because we have 3 Bens that we work with.
We have too many Bens.
So we had to.
No, we call him Kenobi because he deserves it.
Well,
that's
yes,
why.
That's it.
Exactly. This is not the lawsuit that you're looking for. You should make that your official slogan. That's great. Okay, sorry, distracted. We were talking about the middle bits.
Yes. So, from time to time, when you invite an NPC to a hangout, or when an NPC invites you to a hangout, you're going to get extra story in the middle section. So, the cool thing about this is because it's so dynamic, it doesn't matter where you go, that story is going to get told in that place. This means that people's experiences are going to be very different. So, sometimes you might get a very interesting story cutscene in the cafe. Somebody might get the same cutscene in the bar or somewhere else, and the system just handles that really nicely on its own. So we have a few different types of events. These all kind of work similarly to each other. We have harmony and friendship events, which are part of an NPC's main storyline, which gets unraveled. And yes, we do have a few custom cutscenes that are kind of forced. So you get a text message that is urgent, you reply to it, and then you don't get an option to like choose what you want to do. The NPC just kind of goes into it because it's an emergency sort of situation, and it's custom made. But most of the time it's going to be happening through this. Kind of treat this as your friendship events in Stardew, or in Persona the confidant events that you have.
Yeah. And the thing with Persona, I think, is a much better comparison in that you'll have in Persona, you'll go to somebody will invite you to hang out somewhere, and it'll tell you whether or not you're close to improving your friendship with them. And if you are close, then you get like the event. But if you're not close, it's just kind of a generic like hangout. You just sit there, nothing happens. There's a little cutscene, and it's like, oh, this is nice. But then when you do kind of hit that important milestone in your friendship, then you get the scene that has the dialogue, and you learn some story and stuff like that. So we kind of took the same approach. So you'll hang out with them, and then occasionally you'll get that special scene.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And this is, for instance, one of Kat's friendship events, where she talks about chickens being weird.
I chose my favorite for you guys because it's my favorite, and it was so much fun to write.
What?
Don't click through too fast. Let them talk.
Chickens. Do chickens look weird, guys?
Chickens are weird.
I'm gonna say yes. It's the eyes. Yeah, cats like Spuck. Yes. And yeah, and that is, for instance, a friendship event that can happen in the middle once you unlock it. Now, the only thing that is left to talk about here is the romance events. So the romance events work a little bit differently. So they, in terms of how they get initiated, is the same. So when you want to go out on a date, you have all of the hangout locations available to you. But in addition to that, you also have date locations or date activities available to you. So for instance, the romantic dinner at Naka only will show up when you're out on a date. And then you do have some custom cutscenes that happen throughout a romance event. But there will be a point in the romance kind of, I guess, events that happen in the game.
Do you want me to explain this?
Yeah, you go ahead, because you came up with the system.
Yeah, okay. So I developed the romance system because I'm a jerk. So basically the romance system, the dating system, works the exact same way as the hangouts. So you'll get to a certain friendship level, and at that point you'll have the ability to ask out the character. There are some characters that have a higher friendship point threshold for you to be able to ask them out on a date. So somebody like Kat, for instance, her threshold's a little bit lower, so you only have to know her for a short period of time before you can ask her out. Other characters, like Hina, who we were talking about earlier, has a much, much, much higher friendship threshold. So you have to be near complete on her friendship bar before she'll say yes to her. You can ask them out whenever you want, but they're going to keep saying no until they know you well enough to actually say yes. So, that's kind of how we did it, and that some characters a little easier to romance, a little bit quicker to take out on a date. Some of them are going to be a lot harder. Maybe they're older, maybe they're a little bit more closed off from relationships, maybe they don't like relationships, maybe they have no interest in dating. And then we have other characters who, along the same vein, there are some special opportunities in which an NPC, a romanceable character, will be the first person to ask you out. They'll approach you about romantic interest. And there are some NPCs that I call no initiate, which means they will never do that. If you want to romance them, you have to ask them first. They will never ask you first because that's their personality, or they're just not interested, or something along those lines. So every character kind of has a different mix of all those different values, whether or not they'll initiate, whether or not they have a low threshold, and a lot of, other little factors and stuff too. So some of them won't really ask you out on dates very often. Some of them will. It just kind of depends on who you're trying to romance. So the way that it works is once you do get them on a date, you have a few milestones in dating. So the first one is your first date, which is going to be a little bit special. You'll have a couple extra bits to your little cutscene, but otherwise it works through the Hangout system. So you'll get different places you can go, and you might get new activities, but for the most part, it's the same. You meet each other there. You have the middle bit where it just plays a cutscene, and then you have the end bit where you can do the romance languages. Throughout your relationship, you will have different milestones that you'll hit. There are 5 of them. And at each milestone, you'll get a specialized middle part, a cutscene, basically, a chat dialogue, something to show development through your relationship. So maybe it's a conflict that comes up. Maybe you're learning more about their romantic history. Maybe you're talking about things that they've been through in their past. Maybe you're talking about your own relationship and how you guys are working together. It just depends on the character and who you're romancing. So you can date whoever you want, however often you want. There's a little cooldown period after each date, but for the most part, you can go on dates with whoever you want. To a point. There is a point with each NPC, with each romanceable NPC, that we call the lock-in point. And this is the point where you're going to have to determine, this is the person I'm romancing, and it's effectively going to force you to break up with anybody else. Anybody else you might be romancing. So if you're dating Kat, and you're dating her sister, and you're dating Anahita, all at the same time, and you hit the lock-in point with Kat first, you're going to be asked if you want to make this relationship serious. And if you say yes, then it's going to break up with the other 2 NPCs that you're dating. If you say no, you're effectively breaking up with Kat, and now you're free to pursue the relationships of the others. So there will be penalties for dating people, multiple people, in that we're not doing any kind of jealousy system because it's too difficult to program. But if you're dating multiples and then lock in one and break up with the others, it's going to ruin your friendship. And breaking up with somebody is going to ruin your friendship. So we encourage you guys to be smart about it and not be too prolific. But we did want to give you room to at least go on a few dates, kind of test out different people, see who you're interested in. But there is a point where you're going to have to lock it in. That lock-in point is different for every character. So for some of them, it might be the 3rd milestone. For some, it might be the 4th milestone. Some of them, it's not even until the 5th. So you can go on a bunch of dates before you even hit the 2nd milestone. And then the 2nd milestone, maybe you decide, I'm not really into this person, and you break up with them, and then you move on. You will also get the opportunity after every single date to break up with them, and you'll get the breakup dialogue and all that stuff. So, and then we also have, I'm going to just tell you guys this. I kind of want to keep it a surprise, but people want to know, so I'm going to tell you guys. So you have the lock-in point, and then you also have the I love you scene, which is kind of our replacement for the get married scene. And it's going to be the last one, really. So if you want to get to that I love you point and get that finalized scene where you get kind of the completion of the romance story, you have to lock in NPC, make the decision, and then you kind of get rewarded with those extra scenes. So I think that's everything. I think I got all of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to go through and read the I saw chat scrolling, so I got to go through here and read these. Talked about no initiate, friendship romance level, social system. Do you want to kind of talk about the whole why no marriage thing while I read chat? Excuse me, while I read chat.
Yeah, sure. Let me take the character to a nice place. Actually, you know what? We're just gonna sit here. Right. So, the no marriage thing. Right. So, there are a few reasons behind it, and we have explained it before. But I mean, we're okay with explaining it every time because it is such a big departure from what it usually is in this genre anyway. So the first thing, we were planning on it from the start, to be honest. Like at the very, very, very start, we were planning on it. But then when we sat down to properly talk about the story and what are our goals with the characters in SunnySide, we realized that we are planning to add marriage just because it's something you have to do. Kind of felt like an obligation as making a farming sim that has to be a marriage in it. So we thought about it for a while, and we were obviously SunnySide is very inspired by Persona as well. So we kind of looked at that game. We looked at many other games that have this system, like Mass Effect is another good example. And none of them have marriages, but they still have very, very rich relationship building and dating sim things to them. I mean, some people literally call Mass Effect the dating sim in space. And one other aspect of it, just talking about it completely logistically, is the fact that marriage takes a lot of time to do, because you have to make an extra outfit for every NPC, model it, portrait it, make those events for the marriage events to happen. But also, if you want to do it right, you have to kind of plan for how to change an NPC's routine after you get married to them. We have a lot of NPCs that have jobs that are super important to the story and the gameplay loop, but are also romanceable. So we thought by allowing you to romance these characters, it could really break a lot of the loops in the game as well. But to be honest, the most important aspect of all of this was just the fact that we didn't think it was necessary to tell the story that we were trying to tell with our NPCs, to make the experience that we were trying to make with our NPCs. So we focused much more at the journey of reaching a stable point in a relationship, rather than just trying to get to the point where you get married to a person. And I know a lot of people love that. Nothing's wrong with that, of course not. I'm not critiquing that at all. But what I'm saying is, in SunnySide, we think, because of the way the story is told, we put a lot more focus on the journey of building a relationship, rather than trying to get to a marriage point. Yeah. Is that good?
And that's pretty much it. And it's just, again, it's one of those things that I think was carried over from the original Harvest Moon, which frankly did it right, in that you get married and you have kids, and there's this whole development of the entire timeline. And frankly, we just don't have Nintendo money. So if we wanted to do it, if we wanted to do marriage, we insisted that we'd be able to do it right. And because we're not at a financial place right now where we can do it right, we'd rather not do it at all. And I know it makes people upset, but frankly, I feel like it's the responsible choice to make. Kind of like you guys are saying, there are so many mods in other games to fix the broken marriage system. I don't want to put that on you guys as the player. I don't want to put that on the modding community. If you guys want to add marriage, go for it. But do we want to do it eventually and do it right? Yes. But the game has to make enough money where we can financially pay the people who are going to do the models and do the portraits and do the cutscenes and do the writing and do the localization. It's a lot of money. Just having seasonal characters was an insane amount of money. Just to give you guys an idea, just putting in seasonal characters, the portraits, the models, the rigging, the hair, cost us almost as much as it's costing us to make our soundtrack, which is a lot of money. So it seems like such a simple thing to do, but because we have so many characters, it's going to be tens of thousands of dollars just to put in a romance scene for every character. So it seems simple, but it's really not. And we just we want to make sure you guys are getting quality really over quantity, so as much as we can. So for that reason, we chose to do kind of this system instead, where you get the joy of dating them, of taking them out, of learning about them, of seeing your relationship grow. There are some people who are in chat right now who've actually read some of the romances, because I reached out to people for extra help to make sure that because I don't know how to write every character. The hardest character for me to write in this whole game was Parsa, because I'm not a gay man. I don't know how to do that story accurately. And so I reached out to some people who can say who they are if they want to. And kind of said, hey, can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about your experiences? Can you tell me about things I should avoid? Can you tell me about things that people would like to see that maybe they haven't seen before? And so in that process, I was getting good feedback about, hey, this is substantial. It feels good. It feels rewarding. It feels like we're getting somewhere. And that people have been getting kind of that same satisfaction that you would normally get from a marriage scene from that final I love you scene. So hopefully you guys like it, and we did a good enough job. It's been really hard work. But the hard work has been in making sure that the writing is quality rather than the hard work being we don't have enough money. And when we don't have the money, we can make up for it with really, really hard work. So hopefully that kind of comes across.
Read. What you just mentioned is a big one for me personally. The fact that after you get married to an NPC, at least for me, it feels like the game is pretty much done. That's what always happened to me with Stardew, and I know it's not the same for a lot of people, but that was my experience, and I kind of didn't want that to be a possibility in SunnySide, I suppose.
And I'm going to answer some questions I saw.
Yeah, I'm just running through the latest build of the game, by the way.
Yeah, somebody asked if there was a penalty for constantly asking somebody out and them saying no because you don't have enough friendship points. No, there's no penalty. It might come up in the story later when they do finally say yes, but you're not going to get penalized by like friendship points or anything like that. Hopefully at some point you'll maybe take a hint and figure it out, but we structured the responses in a way so that you'll know that they're either interested in you and they'll go out on a date with you. They're not interested yet in that you can romance them, but they want to be better friends first. Or you'll get a whole different type of dialogue if they're just, hey, you're not my type, I'm not interested. And if you keep asking them out and keep getting that exact same response, hopefully you'll figure out that they're just not into it. The other question was, can you drive your romance in the cars with you? Unfortunately not. From a programming standpoint, that's just insanely hard. And we don't have time for it, unfortunately. Can you still be friends after you break up with somebody? Technically, yes. But depending on the person and their personality, you're going to take a different type of hit to your friendship. So some people who have more explosive personalities, you're going to lose a lot of friendship points if you break up with them, especially if you break up with them further down the line. Whereas others who are a little bit more apathetic towards the whole dating thing, they might not care as much and you can just keep being friends. So it just depends on who it is. And then are there dates after the I love you scene? Yeah, you can still go out on dates. There won't be any more scenes, like dialogue scenes, but you can still go out on dates. You can still gain friendship or romance points, friendship points too, actually. Will we add more later? Maybe. If we have time and money, yeah, we might add more later. And then somebody else asked, can you have kids? No, for literally the same reason as the marriage. If you think marriage is hard and expensive, don't even get me started on adding children to a game. We already have 35 characters-ish, and if you want to add kids,
there was
it's
no
a whole
way
lot more.
We could have done it in a good way.
So expensive.
With the time and budget that we have. If we did do it, it would be just so unfinished, essentially.
Yeah. Let's see.
Question for you, Sunny, before you continue.
Yeah.
I don't know if we discussed this before the stream or not, but can I travel to Higashi?
No.
No. All right. Well, we're not going to go that way then.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's see. We are working on making cow cuddling work. Yeah, and Bellarol. Sorry if I messed that up. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, is that we didn't want to just have the NPC move to your house, because I agree, it feels like you're like ruining their lives. Especially like somebody like Gabe, who has a successful business and a daughter and all this other stuff, and then he just picks up and just moves to your house. And so we'd have to make that decision of what would marriage look like for each of the 24 romanceables. How would their lives change? Would they move to your place? Would you move to their place? How would we even make that work? Like, do you just have your own homes? Like, there's so many questions to be answered, and it's not as simple as just, they'll just move to your house. It's what about Hina, who has like this family home. Why would she leave her house? So yeah, it's just so much more complicated when you look at story and everything. So, do credits roll after the I love you scene? No. You can keep going on dates. You can keep doing stuff.
We do have credits rolling, but it's not.
We do have we have a credits roll point, but it's related to the actual story for the game, not your romantic. Because you don't have to romance anybody at all if you don't want to. We're not going to make you. So, let's see. Children, expensive in real life and in games.
That's very true.
Oh, that's really funny. Are there benefits to being in a relationship with someone besides story? At the moment, not really. If they own a business, you might get some benefits. But not really. They might send you some things in the mail. You might get some recipes. You might get gifts if you go through their romance. But no, honestly, because to me it feels a little icky, honestly. Like, I'm gonna date this person because I'll get a discount at their shop. Like, it just feels gross. I would hope that maybe you guys would romance the characters that you're interested in, especially since there are so many of them. Hopefully there is at least one interesting personality that you like and that you want to explore. So mostly we're going for story, experience, all that stuff. If I can walk to his place 60 times out of lust, he can walk there once a day for work. Oh, you guys are funny. Were you creeping on Lucy's bedroom again?
It's funny because I can sit up there and open my camera and be like, I'm outside your window. I'm living in your walls.
This is what I do. I talk and explain things and he creeps. Let's see. Is there more after the main story? Is there more story after the main story ends? Not technically. You can finish the main story before you finish all of the NPC stories. So you can still explore all them. And you can keep farming. We're not going to ever stop you from doing that. So yeah, keep on farming. Grow your business, grow your stuff. We've mentioned already in the past that you're going to have the ability to unlock other farmland. And that's kind of the progression for the game, is you start out with one farmland and then two and then more. So yeah. Yeah. I think that's everything for SunnySide stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that was it. Pretty much.
I was right. It was going to be 2 hours before we even got to the important stuff.
Yeah, so that was everything in the engine. Hope that we have shed some light on how the social system in the game works, because I know that that's been something that a lot of people have been excited to hear about, because we always talked about how we wanted to change how it's usually done in a farming game and kind of look at it from a very different angle and do it differently. So here it is. Hope you guys like it. Do give us feedback about it. Discord is always open to everybody to share their ideas, feedback, questions about SunnySide, so please go ahead and do that. All right, so we have some big
I freaked them out by saying we haven't even gotten to the important stuff yet.
Yeah, we have some announcements to make, and I think it's the time for it. So yeah, if you want to go ahead.
So the first one is the fact that I know a lot of games right now are announcing the fact that they're going to have demos in Next Fest for Steam. We have had a lot of debate on this. We've gone back and forth quite a lot about whether or not we had time, what it's going to look like, and all that. And we kind of decided to not do it. If we do it, it's going to be the demo that's currently up. But we decided not to give a demo of the game, primarily because we want to finish the game, and to make you guys a demo would take time away from us just making the game. It would have to have locks on it and blockers, and we'd have to Rainy would have to go through the code and break things up and pull things out, and it would probably take us a good few weeks to just put it together, and then we'd want to test it to make sure it works and it's good enough for you guys. It'd have to go through QA and stuff, and we'd rather just give you the game. We're getting close to the end, and we'd like to just finish instead of getting distracted with a demo. Will it potentially hurt our sales? It's possible. But to us, it was more important to have a good game and get it out as soon as possible than it was to try to get a demo like that out. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading these things real quick. They're talking about chickens over in Gabe's house and stuff.
Well, we didn't show it because we didn't want to focus on the stream, but we have wild animals in the game now.
Yep.
Foxes and raccoons and stuff actually spawn and run around. And during QA, a lot of people opened the door for the foxes and they got stuck in Gabe's house. That was great.
It was pretty funny. Okay, so on to the other stuff. So this is the point in the stream where we're going to actually kind of shift away from SunnySide stuff, and we're going to talk about the studio and RainyGames. And we have like a whole bunch of announcements to make. None of them are bad, don't worry. So I had put in the description that we're going to talk about the future of RainyGames, what the future looks like for us, what things are going to look like moving forward. And sorry it freaked you guys out, but it was more like we're getting near the end of SunnySide development, and we need to start looking at, I as a business owner need to start looking at what does the future look like for us. So kind of want to explain, for us it's always been important to help you guys understand what game development is, what it looks like. We try to be as honest and forthcoming with you guys as we possibly can, especially for anybody who wants to make games themselves, so that you kind of go into it with your eyes wide open and you know what to expect. So the way that it works with a publisher is they say, we will give you X amount of money, you'll make a game, you'll give it to us, and then we will release it. There is a short period of time between us giving the game and saying, look here, it's done, and them actually releasing it. It could be weeks, it could be months, depending on how much testing they want to do, how much more localization has to be done. If any testing comes back, needs to be fixed, then we have more development we need to do. And so it's kind of this big question mark for us of like, what do we do in between us finishing and them releasing and us actually getting income from sales? Because right now, all of our income, everything that we do to run the studio comes from our publisher, which thank God for them. That's what lets us all do this full time. So it helps, but there's 15 of us and we all want to keep doing this full time. So the question is, how do we keep doing this full time even though we don't have money coming in from the publisher for the game? Because at some point we'll have finished the game and we'll just be waiting. So I hope that makes sense. So what we're looking at is, what do we do then between finish and release, however long that might be. So that's kind of what we want to get started sooner rather than later. We want to do it in a way that doesn't hurt development. So that's a huge concern for us, is we can't start the next game because we're still working on the game. So it's not like we can just half the team will start working on the next game. That's not really an option for us. We need to focus on SunnySide. So we had to start looking at what are some low cost to us financially, in time, stuff like that we can give to you guys to keep earning income. And so we came up with a couple answers. The first one is, actually, I'm gonna let you talk about the first one, Rainy, because this is your idea.
Right. Yes. Well. Yes. Okay. Well, this isn't directly a source of revenue. It's just something that we wanted to do for a long while.
Yeah.
But we are thinking of doing a podcast. So both of us love talking a lot. So, obviously. And we think we're not terrible at talking to an audience. So we and I have had podcasts in the past. Don't try finding them; they're not in English. Sorry, but I love doing podcasts, and we wanted to do it for a long time. And I think we have gathered enough experience making an indie game, at least in this genre, that we have a lot of knowledge that we'd like to share with people. Or also, I think it's just nice to talk about stuff even outside of our knowledge circle, just to give our opinions about stuff. So we want to make a podcast. Essentially, we want to do a podcast.
It's partially, yeah, we like to talk, but also the fact that we're 2 years into this now, and the amount of knowledge that we have gained that we know would help other game developers, or the fact that we're willing to be really honest and transparent about how the whole system works so that people know. I feel like as gamers, you guys need to know how difficult it is to make games, because I used to say crap all the time about why don't they just do this, and why doesn't this just happen, and why don't they do. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I see, oh, that's why they didn't do the thing that I thought they should do. That just seems so obvious, because now I have all that like insider information. And I feel like if gamers knew the things that they said and what they actually related to in the way that the industry works, I don't think gamers would say a lot of the stuff that they say. I'll be totally honest. And I don't know why nobody's talking about it. Like, why aren't we talking about how expensive games are to make? Why aren't we talking about the amount of man hours that go into making even a simple tiny little game? Or how expensive it costs to just test something, you know? So we want to talk about this stuff. We want to talk about, you know, not just the development standpoint that Rainy has and how much he's learned about programming and coding and being smart about it and how to do it right. We also want to talk about the production side and how important it is to have an analyst, a Sydney to the Rainy, who can kind of keep that creativity in check and make sure you don't have feature creep and huge scope issues, and having somebody to deal with the money, and having somebody who can talk, having community managers. So we want to talk about all this stuff. We want to share this stuff with you guys. We want to share it with the gaming community. We want to share it with gamers.
Yeah. And yeah, we're going to start a podcast, and the idea is that we are going to kind of start with a few topics that we know really well and we can cover nicely. It's not going to be super educational, trust me. It's actually going to be much more just like friendly fireside chat, because we're going to just talk about a lot of stuff that happens in the industry as well, obviously some news and stuff. But we also hope that if the podcast goes pretty well, we would love to have some guests over, either other developers, other indie devs, maybe some voice actors if we
maybe a video games lawyer.
Maybe a video games lawyer. That actually would be fun. Super great. So podcast, we'd like to do a podcast. Yeah. It's not going to be SunnySide focused. Again, Cindy mentioned that. It's just going to be a RainyGames podcast. We will definitely talk about SunnySide stuff because that's our development experience at the time, at the moment. But it's not going to be just about SunnySide. So if you had enough of SunnySide and just want to kind of listen to us talk about why Hi-Fi Rush was such a success, or why you shouldn't...
Games that we love.
Yeah, or why you shouldn't make a Kickstarter for £30,000 and instead make it for 500,000, then you should definitely listen to our podcast. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, Kickstarter pitfalls. We want to, and that's kind of the whole message at this point is, not that we want to get away from SunnySide. SunnySide will always be our bread and butter. It is the game that is going to be our flagship, and it's the game that we're going to keep making as long as people want us to. We want to keep working on it. We want to keep improving it. We want to keep adding stuff. But we still want to keep making more games, and there are other games that we have ideas. We have so many ideas for games, little games, big games, multiplayer games. We have a ton of ideas and things that we want to do and stories that we want to tell. And so we kind of want to, I don't want to say shift the focus, but kind of shift the focus from, we're not just the studio that makes SunnySide, we are the studio that makes really great narrative-based games. And that's what we want everything to be about, really. So we want SunnySide to be one of those great games, but we don't want to just be the studio that makes SunnySide. So along that vein, we're going to launch a Patreon. It's something that we've been talking about for like a year, I think. We've done polls on it. We've had discussions about it. We've had internal discussions. We've had external discussions trying to decide if we want to do it, if we thought it would make us money, if it would be beneficial. And we kind of just said, what do we have to lose? We might as well just do it. So,
yeah, Sydney had to really convince me on this one because I really wasn't sure about a Patreon. I know I kind of tried to put myself in your guys' shoes, especially people who've been with us from Kickstarter days. And I thought it could come across as really kind of a almost like a dicky move to, you know, have a Kickstarter, takes people's money, and then just do a Patreon again. But Sydney had very good points for why it makes sense, and we just wanted to be super transparent about the fact that we have a studio that we want to maintain, we have SunnySide that we want to maintain, we have DLCs that we want to make, we have other games that we want to make in the future, and if we want to keep these people together, we need to have a source of revenue that is separate from SunnySide. Actually, in the same vein, somebody mentioned, a lot of you mentioned merch. Any merch that we do for SunnySide, we can't do. It will have to be through our publisher, or it will have to be with their agreement. And we're not even at liberty to talk about even if SunnySide has any merches planned or not. Merchandise planned or not. Yeah. So that's what makes it so difficult. That's why having a Patreon makes sense. Again, you guys are not obliged to do or support us on it. We try to come up with some good benefits that make sense, that are pretty valid, but mostly it's just to support us as developers, if you guys like to do it. So pretty much, most of the detail to give about.
And we want to make sure that if we do a Patreon, that you guys are obviously getting something out of it. We're not just gonna be like, support us, we make games. Or even just support us, we have a podcast. We want to give you guys some rewards. So I'm going to tell you about some of the stuff we came up with. It's not set in stone. We might still move things. We might get rid of things. We haven't fully decided yet. But these are the ideas that we're kind of putting together for the different tiers. Everybody wants merchandise. I'm going to get there. Calm down. So we have... I'm going to tell you... Do you mind if I tell them the prices that we came up with?
Sure.
For Patreon? Yeah. So we have 5 tiers that we planned out. Our logo is a fox, which you guys all know at this point. So they're fox themed because why not? So we have Kit, which is a baby fox.
Should I show the concepts that we had for the icons?
I was going to, but I don't want to show them until they're finished.
Okay.
And I also don't have Kaori's approval yet, and I don't want to show them without... You know how she is about showing sketches.
Yeah.
We have art. What we're trying to say is we have art already, or in the works. But so we have Kit, Cub, Fox, Kitsune, and Inari. And those would be the 5 levels of the Patreon at $5, $10, $15, $25, and $50, depending on how much you guys decide you want to give. The lower level is $5. We're not doing a $1 level, but we want to give you guys stuff for it. So it's not just a Discord role, even though that is. Thanks. So for $5, we want to do a Discord role. We are always taking pictures of our cats and our pets. So we wanted to give those to you guys for supporting us because I feel like you guys would like them. So that was something we put on there. We also want to give away monthly like high-res game screenshots for whatever game we're working on at the time. So for a while it's going to be SunnySide, and then whatever the next game is, you'll get really nice high-res screenshots. As well as
video ones, like looping ones.
Exactly, yeah. That cool stuff that Rainy makes that I don't know how he does. So really cool screenshot, desktop backgrounds, and then we're also going to give you guys access to behind-the-scenes development stuff. We kind of have sneak peeks and stuff on the Discord server. We're very limited on what we're allowed to do with SunnySide because it has to work in with marketing. But for anything we work on outside of SunnySide, we want to show you guys everything. And we want to do blogs and explain it and talk about why we make the decisions that we do and how we come up with the things that we do. So that would be in the $5 tier, is getting access to these really lengthy blogs about how things work and just game development, really. $10 tier would be another Discord role. So with every tier, you get like an updated Discord role. We'd also give you early access to the monthly podcast. So a few days earlier, you'd get access before other people do. We also want to give you guys what I'm calling voting rights, which is here are things that we want to do. Vote. Similar to the polls in Discord, but with a little bit more weight behind them. So that you guys have a little bit more say in things that we do. We want to do them more often. So things like colors or play styles or things, we want to get your opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what we're going to do, but it's going to give us a lot more interaction with you guys in terms of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. And let us know what you guys want. The other one that I'm excited about, it might be for the $10 tier, it might be for the $15 tier, I haven't decided, but is access to a 3D print library. We have a lot of people on the team who have 3D printers and who are modelers and like printing stuff. Rainy, for instance, show them your cup, show them all your cool things, your lantern and stuff. And we want to give you guys access to this cool stuff. So if you have a 3D printer, if it's something you're interested in getting into, we want to give you access to our library of 3D print stuff. And you can print stuff that we come up with, or that our modelers make, and you guys can print it at home and have it and enjoy it and stuff. So, and then along with that, the next step up from the $5 tier is behind the scenes development blogs. For the $10 tier, we want to do photos. So give you access to not just the blog, but here's the pictures of stuff that we're doing. Here's what it looks like and that. $15 tier would be updated Discord role. At that point, we would give you early access to game testing for all games that we're working on. This probably wouldn't include SunnySide because we're so close to being finished with it, but it would be future games, small games, big games, whatever we're working on.
As well as continuous developments on SunnySide, like
yeah, and future development. Yeah. Thanks for pointing. Yeah. Future development. You'd also get behind the scenes GIFs and like videos to give you a little bit more information on what's being developed. And then there's a thing that I want to do. I have talked to my artists about it, but it's something that's viable for money. And Sanny actually already pointed out is seasonal postcards. So our art is so good. Our artists are so amazing. And I want to give that out to you guys. So we want to put that in one of the tiers. I think it'll be $15 because it's not super expensive for us to do. But basically, you give us an address, we make cute postcards with our art on it, and we'll send them out to you once a month. Just as a thank you for supporting us and continuing to help us out. So, $25 tier would be updated Discord role. We would give you access to an extended cut of the podcast. So you get the whole thing rather than just the bits that we cut. We would also give you early access to all of our YouTube videos. And you would get a game suggestion box, which would allow you to put in suggestions for games, things that you'd like to see made, things that you'd like to see developed or changed, things like that. And then the last role, the $50 role, would be all the other stuff. We would put your name in all of our game credits as a thank you for supporting us at such a high tier. So there would be a Patreon supporters area for the $50 Inari tier with all of your names individually. We'd give you access to videos of the podcast. And then we also want to do some monthly giveaways. So there'd be a monthly 3D print giveaway. So we would give away something that Rainy prints out, or Alan or Ren or anybody else in the team who has a 3D printer. And then we'd also do a monthly signed art giveaway, where one of our artists will sign the art and we'll send it out to you guys. And then the other one that we're still debating, and I think I really want to do it, is doing a game night Discord server. It would be a select Discord server for the Inari tier people. That's us, the developers, and you guys. And we would play games together, have hobby nights, and just kind of have like a little hangout zone where we can like play Valheim or play Among Us or build Gundam models together or paint Warhammer figures, whatever we decide to do. So
yeah,
that's all the ideas for that. Sorry for going on for so long.
Nah, that's fine. We are still working on these benefits on every tier, and so some of these might change. We might add to them, and we might still change the prices and stuff, or just what's included. So just keep that in mind. So I mentioned that this was a hard sell for me. So one thing that we decided to come up with, and we wanted to make sure that we do right by the backers. It's the fact that for the first 2 months, we are going to give all of our backers the same access to all of the content that is going to go on Patreon. So you're gonna get all of the cat photos and the early access to the podcast stuff, everything that you would get through the Patreon, except for like the roles and those specific things. You're going to get if you were a backer for the first 2 months, because we wanted this to be kind of fair to you guys at least. So that's our Patreon. Hopefully, we will be launching it pretty soon. We thought maybe we should just do it for the stream so that it's up and about. But no, we wanted to give ourselves some time to do it right. Yeah, so have logos for it, have art for it, have it properly set up and nicely set up. So
we're aiming for this month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're aiming for this month. So if you want to get the news on it, please join our Discord. That'll be the place that we will tag you guys in. And make sure in the passport section to select the notification stuff in there. And we will also send an email to all of the backers so that they know that we have the Patreon launched. And so that they also know that they're going to get access to the content. Unfortunately, Patreon doesn't allow you to gift subscription to somebody, which really sucks. So we're just going to give you guys the content through the Discord channels that we have for the backers already. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of server, another thing that was a hard sell for me, but I looked at some other games and they've done it, so I think it's fine.
So this is something I've kind of been pushing for, and it's along the same vein of why we rebranded the YouTube videos, along the vein of why we're doing a Patreon, kind of with the podcast too. We're going to rebrand the Discord server. And we're going to rebrand it as a RainyGames Discord server and have SunnySide be a subsection of that. It feels a little weird, and it took me a while to come to terms with it, and then Rainy's still kind of like trying to be okay with it. But it just kind of feels like the right thing to do. We want to have one place where everybody can be for RainyGames. If you're a Patreon supporter, if you follow the podcast, if you like SunnySide, if you like the other games that we're going to come out with in the future, we want you guys to all be together in one spot. And so it just made sense for us to make it a RainyGames Discord server rather than just SunnySide. So that's kind of the next thing. So when you see the new logos coming up or you see the names changing, and please don't freak out. I'll obviously do a bunch of messages and stuff. We're still going to keep all of the SunnySide like emotes and stuff because they're cute. We wouldn't get rid of those. But we want to make it a RainyGames specific area. So there's going to be some changes coming to Discord. Please don't freak out. It's going to be fine.
I was so against this, but I literally opened up Coral Island's Discord server. Yeah. And I looked at it and it said Stairway Games, and I was like, okay, that's fine. They know what they're doing, so we can follow up in their steps.
We are also we're gonna keep the SunnySide Kickstarter area. That's not gonna go away, so you'll still have what we call the Residence Lounge. But there will also be a special Patreon area too. So for anybody who does back the Patreon, you'll get special access to a specific area of the Discord that's just for you guys. You can chat and we can talk about fun Patreon things. And then the big one. This is the big announcement. We finally, after 2 years, hit 5,000 people on our Discord server. Yeah. It should have been a bigger party. I feel bad that it wasn't. I had lost internet that day when it happened, so I was like on my phone furiously trying to do stuff. But we did it. We hit 5,000. It's been something we've been working really hard towards, and we're excited about it. And we want to give you guys some stuff. So, do you want to tell them the stuff, Rainy?
Yeah. So, we are going to be doing a giveaway. So it's going to be 10 Humble Bundle games that you guys can select from a list. So whoever wins, they can select what games they like. We are going to also give away 3 Farm Sim games. So these will be whoever wins, they can choose what Farm Sim they would like. Then we will purchase a key and give it to you. So if you like Coral Island, if you like Over Magica, if you like My Time at Sandrock, My Time at Portia, you just choose whichever you like, and then you'll win that one. I
just want to be clear for the record, because I'm very particular about making clear where money is coming from. I am personally paying for these. This is not coming out of RainyGames funds. This is not coming out of publisher money. I am going to buy these for you guys. So I have a Humble Bundle account that I don't use often enough. I have a ton of games waiting to get used, so I want to give those away to you guys. And then I'll purchase within reason. Farm Sim games aren't that expensive. So for 3 lucky winners, I'm going to buy you guys some farm games because we like to support the community.
Yeah,
and
we
other
didn't
farm
want
games.
to just give away SunnySide keys again. We wanted to just celebrate the genre as a whole. So that's why it's just any farm sim. I mean, if you want to get a key to SunnySide, that's fine too. We'll give you a key to SunnySide. And then everybody's going to get. We're going to put together 5 SunnySide desktop backgrounds, and everybody can have them. We will be doing a static version as well as a wallpaper engine version, so that will be coming up.
And that'll be for
by
everybody.
tomorrow. Yeah, those will come up by
That's
tomorrow because we need to put them together actually.
Thank you for being in our Discord. Here's some stuff.
So yeah, again, thank you everybody for supporting the game, for supporting SunnySide, for supporting RainyGames. It is a great milestone to reach the 5K. Thank you all for playing the demo, and thank you all for supporting the game for so long, for such a great time. And this community have been so extremely supportive and positive that it's crazy. Whenever we have to communicate a decision or communicate a change, you guys have just been so open. So again, thank you all for that. And thank you to all the members of Discord to helping other newer fans of the game and point them at the right direction when either the moderation team or we are away. So you guys are always really incredible about like answering questions, and you know, if I or the mods can't be there, you guys will like, hey, it's in the FAQ, just go look, and that's so helpful. So thank you guys. We honestly have a really incredible community. I've been in a lot of other Discord servers that don't have as great a community, and you guys are really awesome. So we wanted to do as much as we could to thank you. And to answer the question about how to be part of the giveaway, be in the Discord. We're going to put out an announcement today for the giveaway. You just have to sign up. You just got to click a button and it'll sign you up. And then we run a little randomizer and it chooses a name for us. And it's pretty awesome. So yeah, if you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. There's links down there. You just got to click on them. It'll take you there. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's honestly awesome. I encourage everybody to do it. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on your PC. It's a really great way to find community and people to talk to. And it's a nice... It's different from regular social media in that you can just kind of be a little more personal and honest and stuff. So I really like it. I encourage everybody to join it. And yeah, like Ren said, you guys really are the lifeblood of our motivation. I'm always concerned that we'll make a decision and we'll bring it to you guys and people will be upset, and you guys are always super supportive and we really appreciate it. It really helps us out. So, any news about the MVP thing? We're working on it. The MVP thing is set up by the publisher. They have some specific criteria they want the game to meet before they want to put one together, and we're still trying to meet the criteria in terms of making sure that you don't have access to the entire game, making sure that you guys get access to specific things that we want to test and stuff like that. So bottom line is, it's not just us that make the decision about when it goes live.
It's a joint effort. So we're working on it. We want to get it in your guys' hands. It's been my prime directive for a while. Get it in the hands of the backers. But I wish it was as easy as just package it up, give it to you guys, here you go, enjoy. We want it to work. We want it to be bug-free. We want it to be good. So we're working on it. We've also been talking with them about how we're going to do beta, how that's going to work. So I feel bad because I know that we've made promises to you guys in the past in terms of dates, and it's just literally the most impossible thing to predict accurately. We've tried and we've failed many times. So I'm at the point where one of my New Year's resolutions is I don't want to give you guys dates anymore unless I know 100% it's going to happen. So the best I can say is stay tuned. We're working on it. We're working constantly. We're still making the game. We're not behind. We're not struggling. There's nothing wrong. It's just that we put together a system and it works, and then it's kind of like, okay, how can we make this better? And then we try to make it better, and that adds a little bit more time. So it's not like, oh, we want to add all these new features. It's just like, sure that we do right by you guys. And this game was originally a tiny little game. If you guys were here before the stream started, you saw the trailer that was playing. It was the Kickstarter trailer. I kind of wanted to show people where we came from, and it's definitely bigger now, and it's going to be worth it, and I'm really excited about it. But it takes time and money. So
I'd like to answer Potato's question in Discord because we didn't answer that one. So when you play multiplayer, when it comes out, is the host the only one that can romance NPCs, or everybody or both are allowed to? So to be honest, multiplayer is something that we have not put any actual final design into just yet. We are just focusing on releasing the single player at a time. Once the game is out, and once the game has been out for a while, and it's bug-free and it has good content and everybody's playing it, then we are going to be making this decision. So essentially it's undecided at the moment. We had thought of making multiplayer just be more sandboxy, but there was ideas to have it essentially be kind of like Stardew, where every player has kind of their own instance of the story, and they can like not romance the same characters and stuff like that. So
yeah,
when we have answers, we will definitely share them with you guys, but it's not going to be for a while. Yep. And yeah, thank you all for hanging out with us. This was a great stream.
It's a long one.
We just reached the 3 hours. Thank you all for sticking through it. We had about 150 viewers most of the stream. And yeah, we really appreciate spending some of your Sunday with us, wherever you are in the world. And yeah, join our Discord for all the goodies and for the giveaway that will be coming soon. We also have a Twitter that you can follow. We post some pretty cool, sometimes new content from the game in there, and that is exciting to see.
And the RainyGames Twitter is going to get a little more active. I'm going to try to post on it a lot more. So follow the RainyGames Twitter if you aren't already. We have SunnySide and we have RainyGames one. We have two. So follow both. Why not? If you're on Twitter, follow both.
All right. Well, that's everything. I think that
I'm just reading
let you all go and have the rest of your Sunday.
I was just reading the chat. They're saying some very nice things, and Greedy is still giving me a hard time for taking her love interest.
Well, you're welcome. I had to do that.
But yeah, thanks everybody. Follow us in all the places. Join the Patreon when it finally launches. Keep an eye out for the first podcast, and we'll see you guys in Discord.
Yep. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Bye.
Bye, y'all.